Good evening, Europe, and welcome to the INGAGE Unite Fight Club. Spartantano here with my good buddy Lobo. How are you doing today, buddy?
I mean, it's fight morning for me, but it's fight night for y'all over in the EU. I don't know why you guys insist on getting me up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I'm happy to be here, buddy. We got another 2 incredible sets. Best of 5s, fearless draft coming up for you tonight on your broadcast. Mate, we've been having some fun with this fight night. We've been having some great games. And whether we think it's fortunate or unfortunate, a lot of these games have gone the full distance with the full 5 games being played.
That they have, mate. It's ridiculous how many game 5s we've ended up with here, but it just shows how close these teams are in these Unite Fight Clubs, buddy. And today we've got 2 brand new teams showing face for it as well. Technically 3, actually, I believe. So that's going to be pretty hype. As we have a look here at the schedule, buddy, we have Lunar Guardians going to be taking on Arigato to kick it on off. I actually really like that Arigato logo. And Los Enduros are going to be taking on Anomaly to sort of end us off. And that is a very closely contested game with 2 teams that have a lot of anonymity towards each other.
I mean, we love to highlight exactly what these players go through when you're going through the off-season roster shifts, different teams coming together here, now, and everywhere. And so we like to reiterate this at the start of every fight night that we have here on the Engage channel, that we are trying to highlight the individual players a lot more than the teams that they are coming with, because the ultimate goal of this is that we're going to get all of our data, everything's going to come through, and we're going to kind of give these players some rankings based on the opinions of professionals. So not you or me, we just professional yappers are you and I. So, but it's going to be somebody else that comes through to give these guys their player ratings. But we're just being told by production that we ain't going to wait much longer, because I believe we have the game ready. We're going to go into Lunar Guardians versus Arigato straight in the draft. But before we go that, tell us about this fearless draft, buddy.
Yeah, one of the most exciting things about Unite Fight Club and pretty much any tournament that has it is the fearless draft rule. As you can see, chat, the team that pick these Pokemon will not be allowed to play them in the next set of games for the entirety of that set. So whatever you pick in match 1, you can no longer play for the rest of that set, and that will continue all the way through until you have a grand total of 20 Pokemon you are not allowed to play in match 5 if it goes the whole stretch, which is bizarre, Lobo, because that could mean 40 Pokemon unplayable in a game 5.
I mean, 40 Pokemon is ridiculous across both teams, which means we really are going to see the depth of these players' Pokemon pools. Some players might like it, some players might not. It might not necessarily be the fact that, you know, players just want to play the current meta picks. They probably want to play what's in competitive right now. But, you know, the best part about being in grassroots, we don't got to follow those rules until the official season starts. So it's about time we get as much interesting games as we've got, and that's only going to come through with Fearless Draft, mate.
Yeah, I love it, buddy. We've seen some crazy Pokemon already played here in these Unite Fight Clubs because of the fact that Fearless Draft is a thing. We've seen Duraludon come out to play, which has been crazy. A lot of Greninja as well, but I think that's slowly on the uptick on people picking it up here in Pokemon Unite at the moment, buddy, and I'm very much enjoying witnessing it.
I mean, I think the only Pokemon that we have not seen is crazy, considering we have a roster of about 75 Pokemon, the 75 plus Pokemon, considering Pawmi is making its way to Pokemon Unite very soon. And so, you know, it's going to be interesting to see that. I think the only Pokemon, correct me if I'm wrong, that we have not seen has actually been Phalanx. But actually, now that I think about it, do you know what we also haven't seen? We have not seen Urshifu. Or we've seen Water Bear. We have not seen the single strike Urshifu that has been highly contesting Blaziken as one of the best secures in the game. But Blaziken is very much taking that top spot right now. But as we get this game ready, buddy, we're just going to go over the rosters for Los Duros. Like we mentioned, it is all on us to actually bring up and highlight these players. So what I'm going to go through is I believe our first game was Luna Guardians versus Arigato. So I'm going to go through the team for Luna Guardians. We've got Sam. Nice casual name, Sam. Is German player from Game Crash as well. We've got Umbreons, who was also part of Mia Familia. We know them as one of a key support player. We've got Lanix, a community representative who's now turning their community experience into competitive experience. We've got Nagira, who's also a former player of Vivid Arise, which is a German team. And then we've got Lycus, which is also a former Vivid Arise player, which means there are two former teammates now joining forces again on another team. That is the Luna Guardians. So do you want to take us through Team Arigato, my friend?
Absolutely. A lot of these players people will recognize from the EU region. They are pretty high-level competitive play. We have Starzerg, currently, a former competitive high-level player, so it's great to see them back here competing, buddy. We have a top 8 player in Mizu, and that's 2025 top 8, by the way. We have Ratchet, former range specialist from Old Oblivion, back to the competitive scene. That's Old Oblivion 5 from a while ago, by the way, chat. Oblivion's been through a couple of rosters so far. We've got Zaki, high potential French support player. We have been informed. I don't know much about Zaki, but I'm going to keep a very close eye on that because I think support is the most important role in this game. Closely tied to that defender role. And then Azurak, previous season top 8 player, Italian competitor, and a battle-hardened veteran. So Arigato have all the experience on their side with a lot of competitive players returning to this one.
I mean, exactly what we want to see, especially for Fight Night. These guys going to duke it out. They're going to find out how much their experience is going to come into play, but it's not just experience that comes into play because with Fearless Draft, it's all about that ingenuity. Now, we have seen in Fearless Draft that those bans tend to stay the same for the majority of these games unless these teams know each other very well. But stock standard across the board with Ho-Oh, Charizard, Suicune, and Latios taking their place behind the bars in jail.
Yeah, I have the Charizard pin on today. The keen eye among you may have seen it because I believe Charizard is either the most banned or the most played Pokemon. We've seen it in every single set so far, buddy, and it will not surprise me that it will eventually come out to play. But looking here, Umbreons, a player from the NA region, chat, and a very good player from the NA region, has come on over to EU for this season, and they are trying to find a comfortable home for themselves. So here they are on Luna Guardians. They're going to pick up Snorlax to kick us off.
Probably the best defender pick right now, probably the one of the most top banned and top picked Pokemon is Snorlax. And it's such a good utility. We can talk about it all the live long day. Sylveon is an interesting pick straight up. I believe that's Fearless Draft coming into play. It can be tanky, but it can output that damage, especially with that moveset with the Float Stone active. I have a feeling we might see, they're changing them up. However, not too much. We could see that Mystical Fire come into play alongside. If Blissey and Sam decides to go with heals, that Sylveon could be nigh undefeatable. But Mizu is going to put down the A-press damage with that Cinderace.
Oh, Nagira is going to round it out with the Rapidash here as well, buddy. But Starzerg has picked up the Garchomp in response. We've not seen a great deal of Garchomp, but it is still a heavy, capable ripper on that all-rounder role. Of course, it does take a little bit more experience to get to those levels, and they do also have that Cinderace, as you've already mentioned, buddy. But they've balanced it out quite nicely on the side of Arigato because they've got a Hooper, a Mewtwo-Y, and an Umbreon. So the early to mid-game, pretty decent with that late game monsters coming online later on. So a good comp that they've built together there.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And it's really interesting to me to see Mewtwo-Y still being picked very highly amongst in those attacker roles, because that role is going to change very quickly with the coming of the new map and the new changes, because one of its item slots is going to be taken up by that Mega Stone, which means Mewtwo-Y's Mega is going to, I don't know if they're going to change how it actually works, but to be able to have access to that, Mewtwo-Y is going to lose one of those coveted spots. Galarian Rapidash, Very fun Pokemon to play. It can zoom around the map. It can actually jump to a target, stun them as well, which could be really useful when trying to hunt down Mizu on that Cinderace. Garchomp, like you said, bit of a late scaling team for the side of Origato, rounded out really well. But like he's on that Blaziken, gotta watch that out because not a sense of a general secure on the side of Origato. So Blaziken looking to take objectives off the map.
And here we go, buddy. This is game 1 in this best of 5. Will we go all the way like we have in previous weeks? We will find out shortly as Lunar Guardians take the central area with their evolution, and no other than the Cinderace taking the central area for Arigato.
And look, looks like we're getting a shared central lane because Sylveon and Galarian Ponyta are going to try and take that up. And Snorlax has one of the best secures early game inside that tackle. Ponyta's here with that blue buff. Going to try and give their big citrus-wearing Snorlax a bit of a hand as Eevee takes a chunk of damage and has to pop that XP to get straight on out. But Sylveon's here in that top lane to help out, with Hooper also having red buff. So double split central lanes for both teams.
Trying to put the pressure on here with Lunar Guardians. Looks like they're going to go down, though, as there comes none other than the reboot. Booting Lunar Guardians back to the Pokemon Center, buddy, with a double KO. That is not what you want the enemy central laner to find.
No, absolutely not. Reboot is trying to find it, and also finding that 16 in the face of a Chansey. That is definitely not what Lunar guys want to see, but now they have full rip here on these Altaris. Turn out to the bot lane where Sylveon has come, putting the pressure onto Mewtwo. Doesn't have access to Mega Evolution just yet, but Galarian Rapidash is going to make sure the genetic Pokemon feels the wrath, gets sent back to Nurse Joy, but Umbreon gets a nice evolution by taking down the Snorlax.
Still, they're not going to be able to find the Rapidash here, but of course having that Umbreon evolved is going to be huge for Arigato. Close game so far, buddy, but having this Gabai online is going to be huge for this team. They're going to put some pressure onto that central area of Lunar Guardians, try and see if they can disrupt what Combusken can do, but they do manage to grab that red aura as they try and get set up for these 8-minute birds spawning on in.
I mean, these birds come as quickly as they go, but all of Lunar Guardians are here. Sylveon's going to find a lot of damage being put on by the Mewtwo and the Cinderace. Here comes the Snorlax trying to just absorb some of that damage. Rapidash looking dangerously low. Umbreon's going to absorb a lot of that, but Hooper gets a quick 2 KO streak on that as Mega Mewtwo Y is just going to put that damage. Combusken in a bit of bother here, and Cinderace picks up the pieces. Arigato say thank you for coming. We're going to take all that experience.
And now they've taken a comfortable lead so far. 720s are about to come on in. Ooh, a heavy slam coming out from Umbreons there, looking to see if they can sneak into that bush. Unable to do so just yet as the 720s come. We've got Gabai ready to leech them onto their side using that Dragon Rush, and it's going to work a treat for them because the pressure was on with Lunar Guardians, and now they're going to back on up and grab their own farm here, Lobo.
I mean, they have placed pressure all over the map. Gabite's ability to scoop alongside Cinderace's ability to just put pressure. But now, with the trick in, and Cinderace's already great maneuverability, whether we see if they're going to play Blaze Kick or not, Umbreon's going to come help out as well. Overheat's going to just back them off. But Cinderace does get out with that Red Aura. Blaze Kick on to Snorlax going each which way. But they have been closed down by Galarian Rapidash and Snorlax. Mewtwo Y picks up the KO in its Mega, but now runs right into Sylveon, who has access to that Draining Kiss and Mystical Fire. It's A-Presses versus a Fire. Garchomp is here as well, but now Sylveon cannot get away from that incredible pressure from Arigato.
Good rip onto this Regirock coming from Lunar Guardians, but what can they do? Umbreon's trying to come in and look for this steal, buddy. They don't have their Unite move yet, so they're just going to have to try and distract them enough, but it ain't going to work. The Flaming Bicycle Kick, definitely too late as that locking comes in, but it's going to be the Livid Outrage let loose, calling the Triad Blitz, though. What a fantastic Unite move to stop that damage coming towards your team. Now Lunar Guardians have a big push to try and defend this goal. They have managed to pull out the Blaziken, though, so that's going to be even harder for them. And they make the wise decision to retreat away from defending this.
Arigato did a fantastic job using Garchomp's great utility moveset to scoop away Blaziken, separate them from the pad and the rest. Cinderace was just able to A-press down, doing exactly what it has to do. Very Frolic into the feint is going to dodge the Sylveon completely as he picks up a Citrus Berry. Fantastic play by Cinderace. We always wonder about the utility of Cinderace in competitive play, but its ability to just A-press, move around, and even use feint as well to just outlive, outrange, and outdamage as well. So it's a very slippery bunny to keep hold of. And with Garchomp putting on the damage with all of those Dragon Rushes and Claws, Arigato has a really strong foundation that Luna Guardians is struggling to break down right now, Tano. This Regieleki going to go to the side of Arigato.
Yeah, and the difficulty is, buddy, Arigato have got their late Pokemon online in the mid-game now. Luna Guardians, they had the better early game, but now they're going to struggle. Flaming Bicycle Kick is going to come through. There's the Infinite Sideburn as well. The Feint trying to protect them, but Blaziken cuts them down. Livid Outrage is going to answer, trying to see if they can take down Sylveon. They do find Lex, and now they're trying to put the pressure on for the rest of Luna Guardians. Blaziken falls, the Lecky goes in. Umbreon's not able to defend against it as they rein in plenty of points now and leave that T2 goal on 8.
I mean, they don't want to lose the experience here, but they have decided to target Hooper, who has access to that Jack button. Umbreon going to do a fantastic job of once again taking away the attention from Luna Guardians, from Garchomp or Cinderace, who were trying to score. Umbreon is still alive. This is just the utility of this evolution, just unable to be KO'd, especially with some of the dashes, and add to that an X speed getting out. And Arigato were not punished for scoring those points in the tier 2, but now it looks like they want to punch Luna Guardians on this basement lane.
What made the wise decision to get away from a Snorlax having a quick nap, buddy? You ain't breaking through that CC whilst that's happening. Mega Mewtwo Y has to use this as fast as they can because they're about to lose it. The rip on the Registeel comes in from Luna Guardians, trying to see if they can zone out the rest of Arigato. Brilliant plays from Umbreon, but they can't connect, and the Triad Blitz is going to come through, but it's lucky. Blaziken secures it with the overheat kick, and now they want to find some quick KOs onto the rest of Arigato, but Cinderace is not that easy to catch. Mega Mewtwo Y is back, and if you don't have an eject button, those overheats are too easy to defend against, but they do get caught with the Focus Blast coming out again. Garchomp on a massive flank here, but Umbreon's with a massive save pushes them up against the wall as they look to get the retreat on from Blaziken.
Umbreon did a fantastic job. The feint couldn't come through. Cinderace was trapped, and Blaziken used that beautiful Blaze Kick to actually secure that KO. Didn't want to take on the Garchomp though. A level 13 Garchomp is a little dangerous even for a Blaziken to take on at level 12, but we have entered the final minutes of the first minutes of final stretch as Garchomp and Umbreon are going head to head with Blaziken, backing them up. There's the heal. The potion comes through from the Garchomp, and they just decide to exit stage right. They don't want to get KO'd right now and give a Blaziken an extra level that they're not going to keep thinking of getting KO'd. Sylveon gets KO'd, and that tier 2 is gone. So there's a win condition on the board for Arigato right now, Tano.
That's why we're seeing this rotate, buddy. Mewtwo Y on the way up. Umbreon here trying to see if they can cause some disruption. Try and stop Luna Guardians getting close to this while Cinderace goes for the rip. They need to zone out, and they need to do it quickly, buddy, because if Snorlax gets a peek on it, you can bet that Heavy Slam is going to land straight on top of that Lecky. A great effort from Umbreon, but it's going to be none other than Cinderace that does what a Cinderace is there for. Finds the secure, but that's why Luna Guardians are going to take the approach on the Rayquaza fight here. They throw down the Triad Blitz. Infinite Cyber's going to come out alongside the Livid Outrage. There's the Flaming Bicycle Kick trying to clean up Luna Guardians. Arigato seem to have this. They just find Blaziken, and it's just Snorlax left, buddy, with that Lecky headed to that home pad. Arigato looks like they're going to be able to take this. A great effort from Umbreon, but not quick enough.
I mean, it was just the movement ability coming out from Arigato, the scoop coming out from Garchomp, the ability of Cinderace to maneuver around everything, dodge any kind of incoming attack with feint, and then reposition them with Blaze Kick as well. Hooper providing the trick as well to enhance Mewtwo Y once they get that Side Strike coming on. There was so much movement coming out from the side of Team Arigato that Luna Guardians just couldn't lock them down and deal the damage that they needed to. Blaziken managed getting a few KOs. Sam with the Bliss assistance. Umbreon with a brilliant play on Snorlax to try and get that Heavy Slam, but unfortunately, losing that Regieleki in that top fight, they had no choice. Arigato pushed the pace and forced Luna Guardians into decisions that they did not want to make. So really, really well done by them. And again, fairly squishy across the board for both teams. So the damage numbers aren't too high, but again, this is what we talk about with attackers. Cinderace dealing 53 and only taking 25. Same with R66, 66 damage. That's kind of apropos, poetic, if you will. And only taking 31k.
Yeah, and notice that Vox Show is subbing in here for Arigato, buddy. He's the defender player from over Cafe du Martin, a team that we are very, very fond of and very aware of. So no wonder that defender play was off the charts. Great effort from Arigato. It honestly felt like Lunar Guardians lost their opportunity, buddy. The second that Arigato had their late game Pokemon online, you had Mizu and you had Dog Tamer currently online in the mid game and higher level than anyone on the side of Lunar Guardians. That is a massive mountain for you to climb up because you look at their Pokemon, buddy. They're so early game there. Yeah, you've probably got Blaziken that's coming more mid to late game, but it just meant that you were always going to have a really difficult late game in that one there.
I just want to talk about a lot of the Unite moves with the utility that we had come out from the side of Arigato as well. We had Garchomp Unite move, Livid Outrage, which got suppressed a few times by the Triad Blitz, but let's not forget Blazing Bicycle Kick and Infinite Cyberbeam coming out from Mewtwo alongside probably the best team utility Unite move in the Hooper Rings Unbound was probably just too much for deal with because Lunar Guardians, they couldn't group up. So all of those Unite moves couldn't go onto them. But again, having them split up is exactly what Arigato want to do. Cinderace can split everyone up with a Blaze Kick into a feint to dodge, and that increases his attack speed as well, if you consider the Unite move as well on top of that. But then Fairy Frolic is also single use. Once Arigato split out, the Sylveon heals based on the amount of people that you hit with that Unite move. So it's not able to stay in that fight for as long. And then Blissey has one job, and that's to assist the Blaziken in all of that. So really different playstyles in game number one. And this is exactly what you get when you come into Fearless Draft. Obviously, because now all of these Pokemon are off the table for both, for each team, which means Arigato can still play Blaziken, they can still play Rapidash, they can play any of the Pokemon that Lunar Guardians chose in that game number one, but they have to pick a completely different set of five. So that's what we love about it. But these highlights showed that Arigato was just really, really good across the board.
Yeah, no, it does, buddy. And I think you hit the nail on the head, though. This is Fearless Draft. So they've got some really strong Pokemon they've used in game one here. They obviously want to take these first 3 games out of the gate. So I think they're going to use quite meta-heavy Pokemon to kick it off with. They did, Mewtwo Y has been used. Umbreon's been used. Hooper's been used. Garchomp has been used. All 4 of those Pokemon are some of the higher-picked Pokemon in this meta at the moment in their roles. So they've definitely come out swinging, and it's taken the approach of we want to win all of these 3 games out of the gate so that they can't get a single victory under their belt on the side of Lunar Guardians, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, I also want to point out just how difficult it is with one player's name being Umbreon's and there being an Umbreon on the other team. On the other team. So can you guys just not pick Umbreon so we as casters have a little bit of an easier job? Just saying. Just saying, make our lives
pick Umbreon, bro. That's what we need.
We have had a chance to cast Umbreons a few times over the last couple of weeks, and not once have they actually decided to go with an Umbreon pick just to make our lives a little bit easier. But we saw the draft come through. We saw the bans come through. So Suicune, Ho-Oh, Charizard, Latios. Probably, I want to say, the most common 4 bans that we see in this current meta. Latios is ridiculous. Nerf that Pokemon. I mean, the amount of stacks that you get on that Pokemon to the amount of damage that it can deal is absolutely ridiculous. Charizard, by far, I think you and I agreed, is probably the best Pokemon currently sitting at the top of that all-rounder list. Whether it is it's not the best at securing. It can output high damage, not high damage, but consistent damage. And Seismic Slam as a Unite move is a team fight engager or a team fight ender. Ho-Oh and Suicune, we talk about them every time. Suicune is just too good at crowd control, and Ho-Oh is a brick wall that moves. So I like the fact in Fearless Drop, and I want to get your thoughts on this. The roster and the team comp changes every game, but the bans seem to stay the same. Give me your thoughts on that. Why are these bans not changing at all? Why not let them through so that the team can't play them again?
Well, I think it's one of those where you've got to ban something, and if you do let those strong Pokemon through, realistically, if you look at win rates in a tournament setting, you're kind of gifting them the win for it, mate. Unless you unless you change your comp to handle something like a Charizard, and you can do, there is Pokemon out there that will limit what that Charizard Unite move does, can even make it pretty much zero, but it does mean you've got to use a lot of picks for it, mate, and you've got to change the comp that you're running. So unless you're willing to come into that game, and you've got to run the risk of, like, you're going to let it through, but they might not pick it, but then you've had to think about the comp to defend against it. So it's quite a lot mixed into it. And when you have to ban something anyway, I think they're just going to continue to target those bans and make sure that they don't have to be concerned about that Pokemon.
I guess we've seen the comments on Fearless Draft when it comes to not only the viewers watching as well as the players who are actually playing. Some people like it, some people don't. There's a lot of randomness that comes into Fearless Draft. And I guess one of the things that people want to make sure is they want to have a little bit of consistency, I guess, across all these games, because then it makes it a little bit more easier to manage. And I guess that's where these bans come from, which is kind of what you were saying. But these Pokemon are so good right now in this current meta that they're going to get banned off again. I guess something like Fearless Draft, where you can't play a counter pick if that counter pick comes through. We talk about specifically Seismic Slam and possibly a Slow Beam. If you take Slowbro one game, you still have to deal with Seismic Slam. You don't have to deal with it again, right? And so Charizard becomes an unbannable Pokemon. But I guess these are the head games that you got to play when you're in the competitive scene. Playing head games, Tricksters, they like to play head games, don't they?
That they do, buddy. I mean, Sam's going to lock in the Hooper here. So, you know, Sam's an extremely good player. And I like this because it's one of those Pokemon that will always give you an advantage no matter what. Just if you go for the rotations, if you go for the trick, it's one of those where whatever you build around it, you will always have a great advantage with Hooper. I think it's the best support in the game, realistically, just in the pure fact of, one, the Unite move, and two, the rotations that you can get with it, buddy. But they're going to clear it out finally. It's almost as if man was sat there listening to you and me, Lobo. Umbreon has picked up Umbreon in this game.
And coincidence is a thing that I've never really believed in, but that cannot be coincidence, must be. His ears must have been burning. Man, why not I play Umbreon on this side? But also going to be picked up is Snorlax by Voxo. Zaki's going to pick up Blissey. Decidueye is coming to the forefront against on the opposite side is a Mewtwo Y. So this is interesting. We talk about our matchups. We talk about who's playing against who. Currently, with the names and players of these teams, we know players can switch into different roles whenever they need to. But usually, I want to say it's the supporter, the defender, and usually the range attacker that kind of stick to their main style Pokemon. So we're going to see interesting matchups between Hooper and Blissey, between Umbreons and Voxo on those defenders. And now it's Decidueye versus Mewtwo. But we've also got another defender, as Starzerg is going to pick up that. And now we've got one of my favorite Pokemon going up against Garchomp. Talk to me about this all-rounder matchup, Garchomp versus Mimikyu.
Well, I mean, you say all-rounder matchup, but Mimikyu is a pseudo-speedster. Come on, bro.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I mean, Mimikyu is a direct answer to Garchomp here, bro. And the Zoroark, and I love it. I think this is a great pickup by Mizu, a great decision for them to run this through. And I think this is going to make it... I mean, you got to remember, Mizu is a top 8 player from 2025, bro. They are a very good player. And, you know, we've got the Garchomp Unite move that can be shut down by Play With Me. We've got Nightfall Days that should be shut down with Play With Me. Both of those Unite moves are some of the heaviest damaging Unite moves in Pokemon Unite, buddy. So I think this is a great decision by Arigato and a perfect counter pick to come into this game, mate.
I mean, we've known it all the way long. Mimikyu is probably my favorite Pokemon. It is my main. It is my favorite Pokemon to play in this game. So I'm very much excited to see Mimikyu anytime it gets picked, because it's been in and out of the current meta a little bit consistently. It's a pick that's used to kind of counter as well. It's got two very different movesets that you utilize alongside Shadow Sneak. However, if you're thinking of playing a little bit of fun and you want to play that Trick Room to give yourself a few dashes to combat Ruins, Mimikyu, Zoroark taking those central lanes.
Yeah, and that's going to be an interesting matchup with Power Spikes coming into the lane, buddy, because they're both pretty strong. I think Zoroark might have it if they can get those boosted off, but it's going to be about who is in this lane to prevent them from doing that. Looking here, a Squirtle and a Blitzy in the top side. Not an easy combo to take on, but Gible will give it a good effort as we see Sam trying to prevent them from taking the Gible down. They do steal a little bit of farm away. 21 points on the Gible is pretty huge.
I mean, it is, but look, if you're Gible and you want to try and stack, that's really not the amount of points that you want. Inside, we've got both central laners going to different lanes right now. 5 seconds till the Altaria spawn. Zoroark is not exactly what a Decidueye wants to see in its lane, but right now it's going to try and do as much as it can. It's going to get the combos on, has to pop that eject off as quickly as it can, but Decidueye is to back down. It is just going to put those Razor Leafs on, but got to make sure it can't get too close. Does go in with the side strike, but Decidueye survives, and Zoroark is the one that has to back away from that engagement, Tano. We're not used to seeing that.
That we are not, and that's what it's about. If you can disrupt that Zoroark and they're getting their combos off, they're not going to be able to do anything, but it's all about that final hit in that combo that does a massive amount of damage, as well as being able to reposition with the dashes. So it's absolutely massive if you continue to disrupt Zoroark in that way. Lex won't be able to do much. As we hit the 8-minute mark here, we do have Lunar Guardians with a good rotation. We've got Gabite ready to go, Mewtwo Y for the assistance. Here comes Arigato, though, and he gets pushed out of the way of the heavy slam with the Gabite Dragon Rush. What a great effort to keep it out of the arms of Snorlax.
I mean, that was a good effort with all of those Altarias still going. Arigato is still on donuts in this one, Tano. But so far, the Shadow Sneaks are searching for that Zoroark to see where it can try and stop that opposing central laner go. As we're turning our attention to the top side with these Altarias about to spawn 720 on the board. We need to get Blastos online. We need to get Garchomp online. That is the main objective of this mid game, to get your evolutions as soon as possible. But Lunar Guardians, after that first game, want to make sure that they're still cooking.
And that's all going to be taken by Arigato. So Gabite's going to give that over, not wanting to risk anything. But down here, though, Lunar Guardians have a little bit more success at the moment. We do have level 7 on the side of this Zoroark. Lex is trying to make a name for themselves as a central laner here in the EU region now, buddy. So we'll have to keep a close eye on how they perform, because you have to be good on a Zoroark if you want to do well. They have managed to hit level 8 so far, keeping up the levels with the opposite central laner. And that's one of the most important things to do as a jungle Pokemon.
Yeah, it is right now. Zoroark wants to dive in, but there is a Mimikyu there. Mimikyu has been pushed off by the Umbreon. Spirit Jackal could steal this, and it does. A nice steal there from the Registeel, because we thought that was going to go to the side of Mewtwo, but Shadow Sneak has found the Umbreon and picks up another KO, sending Umbreon back to the Pokemon Center. This Decidueye is not missing right now, and they are doing a fantastic job with Donut Store closed. Another Spirit Jackal is going to hit Gabite, as Snorlax just absorbs all of that 8 pressing damage coming out from Mewtwo.
R66 making a point for Decidueye being a fantastic ranged attacker, worth picking up amongst the Inteleons and Mewtwo-Eyes of the world. But it's fantastic to see those snipe shots. Looks like they may have been pincered here, though. Trying to save them is Voxshow. They do manage to get themselves out, going up the Flux Zone, but now they have to defend this pad. And there we go. It's going to be the play rough coming for the Mimikyu that does enough. Play with me, manages to land. They pair that with the knock-knock. Can Lex get out? They use the dashes and they manage to get away, but Voxshow's trying to hunt them down, buddy. Dash is coming through, the boosted hits. A fantastic effort from Lex against the impossible, but they do go down, and it's Mizu that finds them with the KO.
Mizu is playing their heart out with that play rough. He is roughing up the side of Lunar Guardians. Want to say just before, Zoroark was actually saved by all things, including an Aditi. Decidueye was not saved there with the combination of Midnight Press into the Side Strike. Infinite Cyburn does come out alongside the Blister Sisters to keep Snorlax up and living. Mimikyu's going to try and play rough with the Dragon type, but however, Umbreon is at a low amount of health, but the Livid Outrage is going to come out. Lunar Guardians want to try and secure this pad alongside the Nightfall Days, but Arigato is doing a fantastic job defending. Now Decidueye is here to help out.
Oh, I love watching what Mizu's doing here. Lex does manage to find Decidueye, though. Taking R66 is going to be massive for this push from Lunar Guardians. There's a double KO. Quick power nap is going to come out from Voxshow, though. And unfortunately, Mizu manages to find the KO on Lex and now Lunar Guardians. They've got to go on the retreat, buddy. Garchomp doesn't have enough self-sustain against that Mimikyu, especially with Play Rough. And that's a triple. And then the assistance comes in from none other than R66 again to clear out the pressure Lunar Guardians was throwing.
I mean, that was a beautiful play-off combination to avoid the side strike onto the jump and take out the KO. Then Mizu coming back in. Sorry, R66 coming back in with Decidueye to help these snipe shots on point, because we got a level 12 Mizu on that Mimikyu and a level 11 Decidueye. We're still fighting it out. No tears have been broken just yet, but the knock-knock comes out. It does not matter. They turn, they whittle, they drizzle, and they take out the Zoroark with the knock-knock raging down with all the leaves. Hooper has gone off bound as well. This bottom basement pad tier fight is not ending right now, Tano.
It's not. Voxshow goes in again, but now they've got crowd control for days. Eventually it's too much, and they go back to the Pokemon Center. Bliss Assistance is going to come on through, keeping up none other than Starzerg, and with that Hydra Typhoon trying to disrupt what goes through, but it's going to be the Livid Outrage, which can't be disrupted, and Umbreon gets out as well. So Arigato haven't found any KOs from that, but Lunar Guardians haven't found any advantage either until them points go in that T1 pad.
I mean, that tier 1 of Lunar Guardians has gone, like you said, it has disappeared inside that top side. Zoroark's going to try and get some more points into that top, whereas they turn their attention to Regieleki. We are 10 seconds away from the final stretch. Unite move should be off the court, but Zoroark doesn't want to get caught by Mizu on that Mimikyu. Level 12 versus level 11, especially with that play rough. It's going to hit hard this time round. However, we did see the play rough. Mizu was running stacking items. I don't know how many stacks they managed to get. 106, 6 stacks. It could work out the math, Tano. But Regieleki going to take a march right down to that tier 2. Woo! That Shadow Sneak was very close to finding Zoroark in that bush. But Decidueye's found them either way.
Oh, now they've been spotted, and yeah, that Mizu is going hunting. It's going to be R66 that finds the KO first, but unfortunately, they run into the claws of Garchomp, and they're going to get taken down. So now, Lunar Guardians want to make an approach on this T1 pad before we've got 20 seconds with Rayquaza coming on through. That disruption actually comes from Starzerg, and they're not able to score at that moment. That is huge for the way this game's going to shake out at Ray.
I mean, keeping the score light like that and still giving them about 110-point difference. Starzerg doing a fantastic job with that rapid spin combination, but Garchomp missing the portal, has to pop that eject button right before Rayquaza spawns. Now, what do we do here? Mizu has found Umbreon inside of that bush, as all the teams are now, the members are slowly circulating around on Ray. Arigato have 2 bases that they can decide to play off. They're in the lead. They're 1 game in hand. Remember, this is a best of 5, so it's not match point just yet, but winning 2 in a row could be a mental blow for the side of Lunar Guardians. They're going to break that tier 1 with double points active, 111 to 176. And maybe just yet, they're still just teasing each other right now, Tana, with R66, just sending those Spirit Shackles all the way through.
Mizu's going for the flank here, buddy, looking to see if they can get a shutdown on one of these massive Unite moves. Dive in there on the side of Likes. They're going to see if they can get a good moment for this Livid Outrage to come on through. Rings are let loose, and there we go. It's going to be the Infinite Cyburn that connects, waiting for the Bliss Assistance to come save them. Knock Knock coming out as well from R66 as they try and rip through the side of Lunar Guardians. There's the Livid Outrage. Moonlight Prance is used as well, and they've only managed to find Snorlax on the side of Arigato. Unfortunately, Garchomp can't rip through R66 with the assistance of the self-sustain and none other than Blissey. Now the rip on the Rayquaza is here, but can Nagiri get close enough to lock this one in? They don't have Cyburn anymore, buddy. They're going to go on in with a side strike, but no, it's going to be Starzerg that locks this in for Arigato, and they're looking for the second win of this set.
Sorry, Spirit Shackle was off by just a bit because R66 was worried about Umbreon's. Umbreon's was low health getting out of that initial raid engagement, but came back after healing off of that tier 1, trying to disrupt Decidueye, securing that, but it was the Blastoise that managed to get it. Again, Rapid Spin Hydro Pump, such a good moveset for disruption as well as damage, just pushing and pulling the opponents around with 9 seconds left to go. Arigato is going to take game number 2, which means now they are sitting at match point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, last time this happened, though, Lobo, we had a certain team put on a massive reverse sweep. So, yeah, let's see what goes on going into game 3. But Lunar Guardians definitely had a much better game in that one compared to that first set, in my opinion.
I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna say it because I'm just gonna say it. That is probably one of the best Decidueye games I've seen. Like, in genuinely one of the best Decidueye games I've ever seen. Top KOs, player of the match tournament ability, a lot of incredible Spirit Shackle hits, the survivability, the positioning as well to dodge the Lanix on that Zoroark, to dodge the Garchomp, to dodge Umbreon, and also putting up an 84k as well, and only taking 34k is impressive. But also got to give credit to the rest of the team, Dr. PhD and Voxshow, especially at that Rayquaza fight. They pinned their entire team down, and that knock that came out from R66 was brilliant. There was absolutely nobody that could get to them at that Rayquaza pit. Cooper was unbound. Blastoise was in there. Snorlax was in there. And Knock was just decimating their health bars.
One thing, I mean, look at the damage taken by Mizu and R66, mate. That 23k, 34k, lower than anyone on the side of Lunar Guardians. And on the side of Lunar Guardians, you've got Pokemon that are there to target that Decidueye. Lex has to dive on through and manage to get onto that Decidueye, but getting through Voxshow and Starzerg was an incredibly difficult thing for them to do. So it just didn't work for them, unfortunately, trying to target R66, and that's how they've managed to get 34% of the team's damage with that Decidueye. And 100%. It was a much better game from Lunar Guardians. They responded well, especially in the mid game. They were finding some important KOs and they pushed the right targets. But again, they're going to have to adjust here because they didn't have enough to get onto the back line of Arigato. And if that happens in the third game, buddy, they're going to be losing the set.
I mean, they're in a good spot right now, Arigato. They could also really just I want to say play into this fearless draft a little bit more. If they decide to experiment with some of the players that they want to go through, they can definitely do that. However, we know how some of these players like to play. Quick game's a good game. If you can win it 3-0, they're not going to mince about. They're not going to mess about. But this is what I want to talk about right here. Look at Umbreon's positioning right now. Look at how much low health. One Spirit Shackle, and they take away. R66 maintains, I want to say, the mental to not unleash that Spirit Shackle to take out the Umbreon and put it on to the Rayquaza. However, we saw it miss, and this is the point I was talking about. Look at where Decidueye is, completely unbothered by the rest of that team. And again, play with me. Look at Umbreon's health right now. HP in a Dream has to use the eject button. However, Shadow Sneak is not able to finish the job. And they do a brilliant job right now. Just have a look again. We're talking about these engages. Umbreon is trying to find Decidueye. So is Garchomp right now. And look at where R6 is. The only person between them and the rest of their team is Blissey. And a brilliant job. Absolute brilliant job. I can't wait to see what Game 3 holds for these two teams, because it's been quality so far. Lunar guys, I just want to say, first game, I think they got a little bit outdrafted. There was a lot more movability on Team Arigato's team. Second game, I have to say, it was very, very close.
Let's see if Game 3 is going to be just as close, buddy. They need to get this win if they want to continue and beat Arigato here. It's one of those where, like, you're coming in. This is the first time they're here in the Unite Fight Club, and the whole reason you are here is so that you can improve as a player, as an individual, as well as a team, buddy. You want to showcase yourself so that you can be picked up by people looking to sign players. It's all about you building a portfolio for yourself as a Pokemon Unite player. So it's an opportunity to showcase what you can do. So they want to get these wins. Arigato, they are looking for that clean 3-0 here.
I mean, a clean 3-0 is always really nice, especially on this, but we as casters, we obviously like to see a little bit back and forth. And, most of the time, Tana, we're so used to seeing a best of 3 between these two teams, but a best of 5, that is a lot of Pokemon Unite. But not only a lot of Pokemon Unite, that's a lot of just being locked in that you have to be throughout an entire series of games. We have Latios being allowed out, and it's going to be the first pick up. I'm surprised. It's always going to be between the Latios and the Charizard. Raichu's going back in the Banjel as well. Holo, Clefable going to stay there. Let's see what Origato decide to pick. If they have a Charizard player, it looks like they do. That Charizard, the dragon that's not a dragon, is going to make its appearance alongside Latios for the first time in this set.
I am quite surprised that in the decision making they've gone for the Latios over the Charizard, but I know people feel that the Latios is extremely strong in the meta at the moment. I can understand why. If you get the stacks, it is ridiculously strong. But Charizard and its Unite move is always infinitely more important, in my opinion, especially for team fights. But let's see what they adjust to and what they want to take into this game, because Sam has locked in the Comfey here. Likes has got access to the Serena. And with Lex being the central laner here for Lunar Guardians, will we see a Zero Aura? Because Zorak has gone, Lobo.
I mean, yeah, you're right. And I had to ask you, what is it with EU and Serena? It's something about the Queen going on over there, because Serena seems to be a very popular Pokemon right now over in this region. Voxer's going to lock in the Trevenant. R66 is actually going to lock in Miraidon, another Pokemon I don't think we've seen just yet. A Pokemon that was so powerful when it first dropped onto Thea Sky Ruins has actually dropped out of most meta contention right now, because I just, we traveled this meta where attackers are slowly just not being valued right now. But Miraidon is going to make a comeback. Umbreon's has switched off of that support role and has decided to, take to the skies and go hunting for an electric bike dragon.
I mean, if you KO the opposition, that's providing support to your team, right?
I agree 100%. I agree with you.
You're defending your team by KOing the opposition. But it is interesting that Umbreons and Lex have swapped roles here. We'll see if I can't imagine they will swap back, because, of course, they could have done that to begin with. But also, Peak Mizu locking in Wigglytuff there. Are they going to swap with Starzerg, or are they going to stick on that? Because this is quite interesting as well. With R66 picking up the Miraidon, it seems as though Arigato are like, let's try everything but the Intellion.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. I thought that was going to happen. Let's try everything but the Intellion and leave that to a possible game 5 if it happens.
It's going to be interesting here. This feels a little bit more experimental. I mean, I don't even pretend to try and get into the mindset of competitive players. I like the Alcremie. I like the Wigglytuff. Why do I feel like we're going to see a rollout Wiggly? Don't quote me on that. But for some reason, I feel like we're going to see it, because how else? Wiggly has a lot of bulk, able to get Sing. It's supposed to put Serena and Latios to sleep, but there's a lot of damage coming out that Wiggly might just sustain before it even gets there. So I'm putting my eggs in a little bit of a basket here, and I'm going to say rollout's coming. Do you want to counter that?
No, I don't. I do not want to counter that at all. What you won't want to counter either is the fantastic offer that HelloFresh have allowed us to bring you using that promo code below that we've been trying our best to pronounce. For 162760, you can get yourself 10 free meals as well as free add-ons for life. That's right, chat. Free garlic bread for life. So go check that one out as we find out where these Pokemon are going to go. And we have a central area invade coming out from none other than Phantom.
I mean, we want to see it. We want to see the Phantom take it, but it does not. Steenie Bounce Sweet is able to get it. Comfey is going to help out right now to make sure that this little Phantom doesn't get lost in the woods, but it has found its direction when it comes to that blue aura. Steenie is online right now inside the central area as well. Now, the central area is just all about time wasting. You got to waste time because Charmander is gone unabated, evolved into that Charmeleon, and it's going to head into the lanes right now. Wigglytuff is also online in that top path up against. It is Turner! It is!
I love it when we get a move that you're hoping for, buddy, because the excitement is off the charts, and it just gives me insane serotonin, buddy. So I love the fact that we got a Wigglytuff rollout coming in here as Lunar Guardians look to push in and see if they can take some of this away from Arigato. But there we go, getting the levels on the side of the Miraidon. Lapras getting pretty weak. Focus Band has been popped. They have to back up to the pad.
I love it, because it was absolutely not in my bingo card, and it was just a off the cuff comment that Wigglytuff was just it's actually the top laner right now because it's not running EXP share. Alcremie is running that EXP share. So this is interesting for me. I love the fact that it's worked because Wigglytuff, is it stacking? Wigglytuff is stacking, Tano.
Bro, they're cooking, all right? They've seen the HelloFresh promotion.
They've seen the HelloFresh
kitchen.
And I just want to say, you and I have not really done ad reads before, but mate, we're on point today. But as we turn our attention to middle Altares, we've got Wigglytuff coming in. This is a perfect chance to try and get a bit of a rollout scene going. Charizard is online. Serena's going to stomp away, but it does not matter. The electricity is intense with Miraidon as they pick up a 2 KO streak, 3 KO streak coming out from Charizard. And this is why this Pokemon has been banned so often.
This is exactly why this Pokemon gets banned, buddy. And we said it. You don't let it through unless you have an answer for it because you give away, effectively, a comfortable win. Now, I don't know whether they have enough for it here. They're going to use the Queen Ascendants from Serena to try and deal with that Unite move. But is it going to be enough? Because that's the only one that's going to solo target it. Right now, Arigato, they are comfortable in the position that they're in. But giving all of this to Serena is probably not what Starseg was looking to do, as they managed to get the big one as well. No, they do steal it away. But that's a level 7 Serena.
I mean, you got to get those angles right inside that top lane. I mean, that's a level 7 Serena versus a level 7 Wigglytuff inside that bottom part. Rollout is so good just based on all the walls that you've got to see. Turning our attention to a Regirock. That is exactly what a Wigglytuff wants to see in that bottom lane. Charge Beam is going to put pressure on the Regirock and it is going to be taken by Miraidon. Talonflame is here as well, but a Seismic Slam comes out. Doesn't matter if you're a Firebird, you're still weak to fire, as Charizard says, sit down. I am the OG fire type.
Absolutely, buddy. And now Arigato are going to give themselves a comfortable lead as they look to break this pad. It's only a 10 over cap, but it has gone. It's opened up a little bit of space for them in that bottom lane. And now they have a consistent lead in regards to the points as well as the levels. Level 10 on the Charizard already. Mizu is feeling pretty comfortable here.
I mean, Wigglytuff is getting chased down inside this top part, but don't forget, it can just turn into a ball, roll its way out. Voxo is here with the curse as well. Talonflame is in a dangerous way. Can Wigglytuff pick up the KO? It can with the combination play, but now Charge Beam is here. That's such a wicked combination with the Horn Leech, the rollout, and the Charge Beam. Add on to that the Charizard. That's just damage that you're not coming back from. Regilecki's marching in. They should just let this walk, Tano, because that tier 1 is on 20.
Yeah, Lex is going to have to get themselves out of there. I like the decision to just let it break that pad, open up a little extra experience for you. Here comes the Queen Ascenders trying to rock that onto the Charizard. They do manage to take them out before they can use that Unite move, buddy. That is huge. Here comes the Bright Fury Meteor Storm, though, from R66 to give in the defense, ripping through the defense of the Lapras. They do find it, but not before Umbreon finds their own KO. Arigato, though, is winning every single team fight they take.
I mean, they're winning every team fight, but then they're keeping their map advantage as well, going into that central area, taking away the boss, because we're 25 to 108 and we've only hit the halfway point in this matchup. The points, they're a little bit one-sided. The levels, however, Tano, are not too one-sided, as we've only got a level 11 Charizard, but we have a level 11 Latios who's going to try and defend this pad from Voxo on the top side. However, turning our attention to the bottom side, Wigglytuff could put a rollout here because there's a lot of walls for them to deal with, but the Seismic Slam is going to try and secure it, but it is Wigglytuff that manages to secure, stuns up the Lapras, gets a KO with the assistance of Miraidon, and Comfy has absolutely nowhere to go.
Unfortunately, at this level now, buddy, Lunar Guardians, the only approach that they can take, because, yeah, this is going to come down to the Rayquaza unless they get a good push on one of these goals, and I think they have to do it as a 5. They need to stop splitting up. Umbreon needs to stick with the team. Lex has to stick with the team. They have to push as a full 5. Look for some good KOs, because those levels will be huge. If they can find a KO here onto Mizu, that will completely change the way that they have got their levels in this game. That's why Arigato are leaving people down here to defend these pads, buddy. They have managed to score a couple more stacks, but again, they're not here as a team, and Arigato are going to respond by coming on down here, looking to find a KO. There goes the Eon Blast. Doesn't do enough, though. Miraidon's still in the fight, and here's the pressure from the Trevenant. There's the Phantom Forest, and Lapras is taken down. The Alchemy Unite move prevents any damage coming their way, and a good effort here from none other than that Latios to just get that defense on, get away, but it's going to be Talonflame nearly going down by the power of the enhanced charge beam.
So Latios is just putting up big amounts of damage, but it's about to get pincered between 3 members. It does not matter. Seismic Slam does not care if you're a Latios or a Talonflame. It's going to make sure that you get burnt to a Cinder. However, the Queenly Cinder is going to take Charizard out of its Unite move, now caught, but Charizard still has that consistent damage over time with that fire. Lapras here with a Comfort. You do not want to lose Charizard right now at a level 14. That is a massive amount of comeback experience, but this Regieleki has just completely gone uncontested by Luna Guardian. It's going to be taken by Arigato. It's going to march towards that tier 2.
Yeah, you got to go defend that. Leave somebody to defend that T2 in the bottom lane because, you know, Arigato probably going to have to take an approach on that unless they want to go for this bottom Reggie that's about to spawn on in. But it looks like they want to see if they can push this instead. The rollout Wigglytuff is going to prevent them from taking that approach while the enhanced charge beam goes for the rip here, buddy. But a massive effort from Talonflame. Umbreon's looking for the KO and Miraidon doesn't find it. The level difference is not enough as they're both that 12 and the rip is going to come on through. And now that Lecky looks like it's about to walk into that T2 pad.
Trevenant going down there was probably the best thing that Arigato could have done. Even Wigglytuff being your top laner, you don't want it to go down at that point. Level 12 Miraidon definitely don't want to go down either, but that's a level 13 Trevenant that went down as well. So once again, we're in a situation where Arigato have both of their tier 1s up in that top pad, in that basement lane. But look at what Luna Guardians are trying to do. They're pushing up top side. Wigglytuff sees them there in that top path. Are they going to go for a score? I think they could. They're trying to isolate the Wigglytuff, but this is a chance Arigato are going to come and defend and try and pincer them onside this tier 1 on the top side.
This is a good push, but I think you may have overstayed your welcome already. Alchemy Unite move out, but they burn down Serena. That's a heavy carry you're no longer going to have in this team fight. Seismic Slam is connected as well with Talonflame being gone. They have no damage or frontline left to deal with Latios, and the Lapras is trapped in a rollout trap, buddy, and they finally managed to get themselves away, but Arigato have full control of these final few minutes.
I mean, there's all 5 of them left. Lapras is the only one, but now it's been pincered. It's going to go through. Can it get out here? No. Wigglytuff's rollout is going to try and stop it, but again, they've got another problem with Serena, Talonflame, and Latios coming through to the top side. Charizard's going to try and put some fire in. Talonflame is going to go. Phantom Forest comes out as well. The Unite moves are going to start popping. Miraidon picks up a KO on Serena with that charge beam. A 2 KO streak's going to come in as well. Wigglytuff picks a KO on the Latios, and that is a team wipe for Arigato.
And now they're going to get the Green Dragon uncontested, buddy. That is going to be a 3-0 victory to Arigato here. And I got to say, I mean, it felt like in that second game, Luna Guardians had a great adjustment and they really brought it to a close game. I'm not sure what the plan was here in the third game. I think they were experimenting. They were trying out a couple of different things. It just hasn't worked for them here because, again, they couldn't get onto that Miraidon. If you can't get close to R66, those enhanced charge beams are going to rip through your team. And unfortunately, they weren't able to connect on the side of the Talonflame. So back to the drawing board for Luna Guardians here.
I have to say, Talonflame is probably when Miraidon was first, that big problem on Thea Sky Run. Talonflame was looking like one of the best counters, especially when we had that speedster buff. Talonflame was just everywhere and everywhere. However, not only was Voxel and that Trevenant doing a great job of actually defending R66 on that Miraidon, but Dog10 PhD was doing a brilliant job with those rollouts. We saw just an unexpected comp coming out from the side of Arigato, and I guess that is the benefits of Fearless Draft. Just Luna Guardians unable to get a foothold in either of those 2 games because both games they were up with all tier 1s available at that Rayquaza fight. But let's have a look at these stats, buddy. Take us through it.
Well, I mean, looking at the Latios damage there, buddy, and I will say a fantastic effort by them to keep themselves out of range for quite a bit of that. It did get to moments where they did end up trapped and they did get caught, but there was some fantastic dodging, some fantastic kiting that I was seeing from Latios in that game, and it was pretty impressive. I think that's probably the only moment that I thought Lunar Guardians would be able to get themselves back into it. So, a huge shout out to them being able to try and dodge a lot of that damage.
Again, we go back to a key point inside this fight where Lunar Guardians did try to push onto the tier 1. Wigglytuff was there, and we know Wigglytuff is a very, very hard Pokemon to take down considering how bulky it can be. But not only that, what you add to Wigglytuff when you use Rollout is its escape mechanic, because Rollout is just able to roll out as far as humanly possible to get away from any kind of follow-up damage. So they were able to sustain, and Arigato could have taken the rip. They had the ability to take the rip as well, but to pincer Lunar Guardians inside that top path, they stayed too long. You mentioned it before, especially with Outcream's Fluffy Cream Supreme. You're going to get healed. You're going to get stayed. You're just going to stay. And on your pad giving you healing, Lunar Guardians needed to exit as quickly as possible, but they lost a bit of damage there. So, again, a nice 3-0. Very different to what we're seeing, because we're usually seeing these games go to a full best of 5.
Yeah, we do. And I think that was a good statement by Arigato being here for, the first time here at the UFC. And I think it was great effort from them, but they are a team that I think other teams are looking at being like, I would like to take them on 100%. And, Lunar Guardians felt like they bounced back a little bit, and that's good. They can look back at this VOD as a team and see how they can improve. And I think that's going to be a major stepping point for Lunar Guardians, because they were moments of brilliance, but they just didn't have enough as a team, as a 5 in that game to even look at winning it. But what we need to do, Lobo, is grab ourselves a break, buddy. We've got another best of 5 coming on up, and I think this one could go all the distance, chat. So grab yourself a drink, grab yourself a snack. We will be back very shortly.
Where the city don't sleep, ruthless kids just roaming the streets, parents just trying to make ends meet, poverty everywhere, yeah, it gets deep. They're living for the weekend, wasting the week. Outside therapy talk is cheap, my worst enemy is me. Most of these people don't see, I wish I tried to tell them, I wish I tried to tell them, yeah, good riddance. Now I don't live by the same old limits. I do my meetings, I take my minutes, give them when they're due, them credits. Always in point, but I could be a menace, here to take this, yeah. So many levels, so many cultures, so many good ones, so many vultures. Yeah. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. Go everywhere. So many levels, so many cultures. So many good ones, so many vultures. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence, yo, everywhere. One day at the Eiffel Tower, next day at the farmer's market. My life is different, I can't be there, please stop asking. They get lost with power, I get lost with karma. He gets a whiskey sour, heart is racing, make me calmer. Think of it all the time, this path I'm on is mine. Changing, molding, more time I feel it's divine. No one can tell me anything, I heal the pain with all these rhymes. I know the order of all my chaos, I know the order of all these signs. So many levels, so many cultures. So many good ones, so many vultures. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence, go everywhere. So many levels, so many cultures.
So many good ones, so many vultures.
So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence, yo, everywhere. I'm from a place where the city don't sleep, ruthless kids just roaming the streets, parents just trying to make ends meet, poverty everywhere, yeah, it gets deep. They're living for the weekend, wasting the week. Outside therapy talk is cheap, my worst enemy is me. Most of these people don't see, I wish I tried to tell them, I wish I tried to tell them, yeah, good riddance. Now I don't live by the same old limits. I do my meetings, I take my minutes, give them when they're due them credits. Always on point, but I could be a menace. Here to take this, yeah. So many levels, so many cultures, so many good ones, so many vultures. Yeah, yeah. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. So many levels, so many cultures, so many good ones, so many vultures. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. One day at the Eiffel Tower, next day at the farmer's market. My life is different, I can't be there, please stop asking. They get lost with power, I get lost with karma. He gets a whiskey sour, heart is racing, make me calmer. Think of it all the time, this path I'm on is mine. Changing, molding, more time I feel it's divine. No one can tell me anything, I heal the pain with all these rhymes. I know the order of all my chaos, I know the order of all these signs. So many levels, so many cultures, so many good ones, so many vultures. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. So many levels, so many cultures,
So many good ones, so many vultures.
so much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. I'm from a place where the city don't sleep. Ruthless kids just roaming the streets. Parents just trying to make ends meet. Poverty everywhere, yeah, it gets deep. They're living for the weekend, wasting a week. Outside therapy talk is cheap, my worst enemy is me. Most of these people don't see, I wish I tried to tell them, I wish I tried to tell them, yeah, good riddance. Now I don't live by the same old limits. I do my meetings, I take my minutes, give them when they're due them credits. Always on point, but I could be a menace. Here to take this, yeah. So many levels, so many cultures, so many good ones, so many vultures. Yeah, yeah. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. So many levels, so many cultures, so many good ones, so many vultures. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. One day at the Eiffel Tower, next day at the farmer's market. My life is different, I can't be there, please stop asking. They get lost with power, I get lost with karma. He gets a whiskey sour, heart is racing, make me calmer. Think of it all the time, this path I'm on is mine. Changing, molding, more time I feel it's divine. No one can tell me anything, I heal the pain with all these rhymes. I know the order of all my chaos, I know the order of all these signs. So many levels, so many cultures, so many good ones, so many vultures. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. So many levels, so many cultures,
So many good ones, so many vultures.
so much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. Where the city don't sleep. Ruthless kids just roaming the streets. Parents just trying to make ends meet. Poverty everywhere, yeah, it gets deep. They're living for the weekend, wasting a week. Outside therapy talk is cheap, my worst enemy is me. Most of these people don't see, I wish I tried to tell them, I wish I tried to tell them, yeah, good riddance. Now I don't live by the same old limits. I do my meetings, I take my minutes, give them when they're due them credits. Always on point, but I could be a menace. Here to take this, yeah. So many levels, so many cultures, so many good ones, so many vultures. Yeah, yeah. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. So many levels, so many cultures, so many good ones, so many vultures. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. One day at the Eiffel Tower, next day at the farmer's market. My life is different, I can't be there, please stop asking. They get lost with power, I get lost with karma. He gets a whiskey sour, heart is racing, make me calmer. Think of it all the time. This path I'm on is mine. Change it, molding. More time I feel it's divine. No one can tell me anything. I heal the pain with all these rhymes. I know the order of all my chaos. I know the order of all these signs. So many levels, so many cultures. So many good ones, so many vultures. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. So many levels, so many cultures.
So many good ones, so many vultures.
So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. Where the city don't sleep, ruthless kids just roaming the streets, parents just trying to make ends meet, poverty everywhere, yeah, it gets deep. They're living for the weekend, wasting a week. Outside therapy talk is cheap, my worst enemy is me. Most of these people don't see, I wish I tried to tell them, I wish I tried to tell them, yeah, good riddance. Now I don't live by the same old limits. I do my meetings, I take my minutes, give them when they're due them credits. Always on point, but I could be a menace, here to take this, yeah. So many levels, so many cultures. So many good ones, so many vultures. Yeah, yeah. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. So many levels, so many cultures. So many good ones, so many vultures. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. One day at the Eiffel Tower, next day at the farmer's market. My life is different, I can't be there, please stop asking. They get lost with power, I get lost with karma. He gets a whiskey sour, heart is racing, make me calmer. Think of it all the time, this path I'm on is mine. Change it, molding, more time I feel it's divine. No one can tell me anything, I heal the pain with all these rhymes. I know the order of all my chaos, I know the order of all these signs. So many levels, so many cultures. So many good ones, so many vultures. So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere. So many levels, so many cultures.
So many good ones, so many vultures.
So much privilege, so much indulgence. So much privilege, so much indulgence. You're everywhere.
You bringing us in? So, mate, we're talking about this, right? Groudon is a fire type, ground type. And then Rayquaza is a flying type. So it's Thea Sky Ruins. Whereas Groudon is Thea Sky Ruins.
Right? It's Thea Sky Ruins, Groudon, but they're not even giving us a new map, bro. It's just.
I mean, I see what you're talking about. We've talked about this a few times, and I don't know. We need to call it something else because I think it makes more sense to call it something else. But I guess
in the sky. So
maybe it fell out of the sky. That's why Groudon's there, and that's why it's all on fire now. I don't know. No, it's. I mean, look, maybe we have to use our imagination, but what we don't have to use our imagination for is Fight Night, baby! We've got our second best of 5 coming up for you guys against two incredible teams. One we've seen before. I think both of these teams we have seen before. We have watched them play before, and it's very, very exciting. We're going to go through quickly the team rosters for you guys. Who do you want to take us through, Tyler? Do you want to take us through Los Duros, or you want to take us through Anomaly?
Oh, buddy, I feel like I love both of these teams so much. I mean, I'm going to do Anomaly. So, yeah, Anomaly, we have none other than Jose, one of my favorite players here in the EU region. Currently going to be the central laner for Anomaly, and a very good one at that. Recur is the top laner. People will recognize Recur. Used to be one of the best junglers here in the EU region, but they're currently playing in the top lane, buddy. Borty is also going to be the bot laner, and Recur and Borty have played together before. Now they're on the same team yet again. Kato is a support, contending to be the best Spanish support, by the way. And Jurare is a tank, one of the best Trevenants in the EU region. So keep a very close eye on that. And then they've got their coach, which is Black CH, which some of you will recognize as they are currently managing the Unite Academy.
I mean, that's such a strong team. Going to take you through Los Duros as we do have the bans. Suicune, Blissey, Charizard, and Raichu. With Bordy going to pick up that Latios we know they've been so effective on. But on the side of Los Duros, we've got Oscar, who's their top laner. We've got Daniela, who is their bottom laner. We got Louisin, who is their jungle. We got No Way, who is their tank, who is apparently... I'm going to say it, one of the best Laxes in all of EU. And we've got Albanoa, also very much known for their Hooper. Now, this is an all Spanish team as well. So this is going to be an interesting one. I'm very, very excited to see these teams go up against each other, my friend.
And there is a lot of lore between them, buddy. I believe Rakura and Borty used to play with Oscar on a previous team. I believe Oscar and Daniela are also in a relationship, so hey ho, they've got that romantic law to keep them tied together on a team here, bro.
Is that love on Theosky Ruins that we hear? I like it. Who says we're all about Pokemon battles here? But buddy, before we get to the lore of these players, let's have a look at how this draft is going right now. Ayame has picked up that Sableye. Now we have witnessed this before, and you and I were kind of popping off because this Sableye kind of went hard last time we saw it. The stuns accompanied by boys Latios and Jose's Leafeon, if he's going to pick that up, was such a problem to deal with last time we saw it. However, Danny and Oscar picking the Espeon and the Buzzwole up. Such a strong combination pair. Buzzwole picks them up. Espeon, I want to say slams it down, but stuns them up for Buzzwole to pick them up and slam them down. And Louisin going to try and hit a few secures with that Blaziken. But the biggest problem on this map right now is that big chicken in the sky that Torero is currently locked in on.
Yeah, I do like the Ho-Oh pick. I think it's very important here because this comp on Anomaly side is such a anomaly coded comp that this is going to be difficult for Los Duros to handle. This is pure anomaly written all over, buddy. Look at the front line that they have. Juari here and Recur, Blastoise, Crustle, and you can't forget Ayame. People don't realize how good at tanking damage Sableye truly can be, especially with none other than leftovers on it. Yes, we are here in year 4 of Pokemon Unite. Leftovers is a viable held item on some Pokemon chat. I know, I can't believe it myself, but then you've got Jose that is just going to try and hunt down these Pokemon on the side of Los Duros from the get-go, Lobo. So Body's got all the space and all the time in the world to throw down that damage unless Los Duros can stop it.
I mean, Body's Latios has the ability to put down lots of damage, like we've already said before. Remember, guys, this is Fearless Draft. So any of these Pokemon that have been played right now, the 10 that you see on your screen, are not going to be able to be played again. So the damage that's going to be output by Body on that Latios is going to be about the same amount of damage that you are going to get when you use our promo code POG. 162760 Hello Fresh, 10 free meals plus add-ons for life. Tano mentioned it before. That's free garlic bread for life. That's some garlicky goodness to get on in your veins. But Sableye wants to get some aura in their veins as they go in for a cheeky little invade like only Sableyes know how to do.
Good effort from Los Duros to recognize that was probably going to be coming, though. So Noah's going to head on back into that central lane and prevent anything else from coming their way. But now back in the top side is Anomaly, and Oscar can't do anything but go back to Nurse Joy.
He didn't take his protein because Jose came in and took it all away. Going to secure some of that inside that top path. Make sure as long as Jose gets their stacks, he's just going to do exactly what he does best. Only having the red buff right now, but does get stunned by Hooper. He's going to turn around because Sableye is going to cause a little bit of confusion and take... No, I thought they were going to take the KO instead of Jose, but Jose is dangerously low, which means 850 on the clock, and Los Duros are only going to have to deal with a little Squirtle and Sableye and take all of those middle Altarians.
Yeah, definitely was a risky move by Anomaly. Jose stayed way too long in that top side, but he had to go earlier. So now Losteros gets all that farm, but Anomaly having a much better bottom lane here as they try and push onto this pad. A little bit too early again. Good stun from Sableye though, prevents any KOs coming to the side of Anomaly. That's how important Ayami is going to be in this game.
I mean, Jose retreated back and then turned up inside that bottom path. Fantastic job by Hooper to notice that happen, because that Hooper highway was active straight away. Sableye does go down in quick succession, but Espeon's going to be felled here as well. Has to pop the eject, does board him, but Hooper using the little trickster hole to make sure that Latios pays the price.
Oh, now Juare has to defend this pad by themselves. Here comes Ayami as well, but unfortunately the flamethrower, it's too much for the Crustle. Turns out Crab doesn't add up well against the fire buddy. Jose still looking to grab as much experience as they can at the moment, looking for that Unite move, very close to it, but Los Duros have found a way to even out this early game and begin to take control of Faya Sky Ruins.
Probably one of the most effective Unite moves that you get as early as level 8 is that Emerald 2-step. It is a delete button this early on in the game. Bordy is trying to pick up those stacks. I was talking about this before. Ho-Oh is a big problem to deal with because it's so tanky, it's so bulky, but the amount of damage that Bordy could possibly put on right now, the overheat is charged. The Sableye, not the Sableyes, the Alterias are going to go mostly to the side of Los Duros, and Bordy's going to take a big amount of damage because Ho-Oh knew exactly where their target was going to go.
This is a different approach from Anomaly. We usually see them ready for these objectives. Now there goes the Emerald 2-step. Manages to find Oscar Tar, looking for Noah as well. And that's it, buddy. That's Control, Alt, Delete, Task Manager, End Task. And they've managed to find the KOs as Registeel gets pretty weak. And good effort coming out from Jurawe. But it's going to be none other than Louisin that finds the secure.
I mean, they take those KOs, does Hoei in the top side. However, in the basement lane, taking that Registeel is a big problem. Bordy's going to go back to the Pokemon Center, courtesy of the Hoei. He's not going to rekindle him. He's going to rekindle his own team. But are they going to break this? No. They leave that basement pad on 5. There we go. Ayame still making themselves a nuisance with that Sableye. Haven't seen those combinations just yet come out from them with the Sableye stun into the Leafeon, but Bordy needs to start getting some levels here as stacks as well on that Latios to really start putting on that big damage. Now, the thing we did see from Danny is that they are playing Stored Power Espeon, which is a great way to deal with a Sableye. Emerald 2-step's going to send Danny back to the Pokemon Center, but now Jose has to deal with a Ho all by themselves, which is a hard task with just a Leafeon.
That it is. Los Duros have managed to defend this T2 as well, pushing the Lecky into that far right side of the lane. But now it's risky. They want to look for some KOs to boot. They do find Jurare using the Ultra Swole Slam, looking to see if they can target this Latios. Bordy has to run and run quick, and they get answered with the big arms of Swole. It's a double KO for Oscar. Now they want to go score some points. Recur's going to try and stop them with the big surf, but the rest of the team is here. Hydro Typhoon is going to connect, and they've got mega boost of damage to take down Oscar, looking to see if they can find Espeon here as well. Juari ain't gonna let them get away. Rockton will come through. Great Psychic Solaire, but you're 1 HP in a dream, buddy, and the surf finally hits.
I mean, they knocked out each other, did Danny and Velastos inside that top path. Nice X's whilst they were in the Psychic Solaire to go to the other side of Danny to really cut off any kind of retreat momentum. We are at the halfway point. That's going to be a nice overdunk. 35 go in. So we got 127 to 129 on the board here. It's a close game in our game number 1. Remember, this is game number 1. Fearless Draft is in effect. So we're seeing these teams right now. They're going to get a little bit more creative as we've got Sableye going in on Buzzswole. There goes the Emerald 2-step. And with the Sableye Unite move sends Buzzswole right back to the Pokemon Center. But he's got a little while before he's allowed back out.
That was a ridiculous Chaos Glow, buddy. They probably should have saved it for when Los Duros landed on the pad. Right now, we're going to have a bit of a fight. Aeon Blast or the overheat. It's going to be overheat, of course, that secures the Regirock. And unfortunately for Borty, they are stuck in the face of the Fire Chicken, but they come out on top with the laser beams that is that Jet 2 holiday.
I mean, that is incredible. I thought Bordy was gone there. Blaziken in close quarters with those Fire Fists is able to heal up health. I thought Bordy with the dashes was able to create a little bit of room, but here there's no time to waste as we've called roll inside that top part. That Regieleki is being worked on by the Blaziken and Espeon as well. The overheat is obviously going to secure this because there's no other contention that's coming through, but on the other side, Sableye and Leafeon getting 40 dunks each inside that top path. Hydro Typhoon's going to come out as well to start up everyone. That was 3 of them, but they all made it back to the Hooper portal, so they come back with fresh health. Now Jirawe, he's going to try and use X-Scissors to hold everyone there. Borty is here. The damage can rain down from Latios, but Jose also now still here as well, but Blaziken has gone deep into the enemy team's flux zone.
That was a great rekindling frame from Torero as well. Nobody was there to find KO, so you're getting your team up in a comfortable position. The Lecky is in the T1 pad, so you've got plenty of points to rein in as well from the rest of your team. And now they managed to cut down this lead. Woo! A huge Chaos Galoa though, and then a little bit of dancing as well from Ayami, sending back 2 from Los Duros to get back control of that top lane, Lobo.
I mean, that was a great Unite move by Ayami. Now we have entered final stretch. 3 minutes have passed on the clock. No Unite moves should technically be used. That's in the Pokemon Unite handbook. If it's not, it should be. Don't use that Unite move after 3 minutes. Blastoise and Latios are the only one with access to their Unite moves on the side of Anomaly. Danny has access to that Psychic Solaire on the side of Los Duros. They're slowly bringing back their Unite moves, but Ayami is making themselves known in the enemy team's central lane, trying to just make sure that they follow the Gremlin, because once you follow the Gremlin, you can't stop. But Ayami's only at level 11 here, but we've got level 14 Bordy, we got level 14 Jose, and it looks like Anomaly are going to go into the Rayquaza fight with a Registeel. That's a 1.5 minute timer on that Registeel buff, giving you that buff to your attack and special attack. And if you're Latios, look at how much you're just chunking out of Hollow. They could turn for the rip as Hooper sends them all back. But Anomaly putting the pressure on right now, Tano. I think they know they're in the lead.
Yeah, definitely they do, buddy. They're going to try and control this Rayquaza fight best that they can. It does feel like they're going to try and just go for the KOs, although they do fall, and now Los Duros have the advantage. Jose not being here, it gets them stuck without a paddle, buddy. Managing to get a huge amount of damage, and it's Recur that comes to the victory with a massive Surf and Hydra Typhoon, just to prevent them from getting anywhere out of this central area. If they find a couple of KOs here, there won't be enough time to go for the rip. Psychic Solaire's going to come on through from Danny. Does by enough space, and Latios goes down. Borty not being here just gives Los Duros what they're looking for. Now they try and approach the Rayquaza pit. Ayami's going to have to try and get some crowd control onto them here. Jose is back, but they don't have Emerald two-step, buddy. Portal's going to be thrown down. The rip starts from Oscitar. Los Duros has the advantage at the moment, but that's why they're waiting on this Leafeon to get back in there with the Razor Leaf. It's so weak. Who's going to lock it on down? There goes the Razor Leaf, but it's going to be Hooper. Noah manages to lock it in for Los Duros. Hundo Burgers can rain on in.
I mean, wow, that was such a great raid fight. It didn't even take place inside the Rayquaza pit. It took place in Los Duros' own central lane. Hooper had to call roll from behind, from their own enemy lines, just to make sure that their team could survive. Anomaly pushed the play so intensely that Recur was the saving grace for the majority of that raid fight, using the Hydro Typhoon, using the Surfs, but unfortunately the resets coming out from Hooper were just too strong for the side of Los Duros. Even though Anomaly were ahead, they still played the aggressive game all the way to the very end.
I'm not sure if it worked for them, but I think if Jose didn't get picked in that early stages, I don't think they'd have pushed that as aggressively. I think at that stage when you were losing Pokemon, and of course Jirari got caught out and got so much damage onto them, that they kind of didn't have a choice but tried to push Los Duros back into their central area even more to reduce the time that they had to rip that Rayquaza. It was making the most out of a bad situation in those final few moments for Anomaly.
The last Pokemon that you want to get picked up with as a Leafeon, as dangerous and as absolutely dominating as a Leafeon is throughout most of the game, is a Buzzwole. Look, we've seen a lot of people play the Leech Life moveset, but playing double Smackdown moveset, right now, the Superpower Smackdown moveset, you are just in Buzzwole's hands for a good 3 to 4 seconds, and your health just eliminates. And I want to put out, look at Danny put up 71k with stored power. Now, we have seen a lot of side shot come through, but stored power with the movement, also with Ayame on that Sableye, stored power is putting pressure on everybody throughout that entire game.
Yeah, it's a smart choice. The thing is, a lot of players need to learn when to use certain movesets on Pokemon, and I think Danny absolutely on point with that one. Buddy, you called it. Ayami was there on the Sableye. Yes, they're going to be invisible, but the stored power is going to make it easier to find them once they are spotted. And of course, you have to get away from Jose. It's not easy to get away from a Leafeon with Side Shock. So stored power was absolutely the right choice, and the side beam to try and rip through some of that tank front line as well. It's interesting, mate, because I did feel like Anomaly had the majority of that game locked down. It did feel like a close one. I'm not going to deny. This is probably going to go all the way to that 5th game, but I feel like Anomaly had the advantage in those team fights, and they just pushed it way too far in that 2-minute mark.
They were 200 points ahead at the Rayquaza fight anyway, and sometimes we talk about this every time we get a chance to really talk to any pro players, where we interview them or we talk to them about the flow of the game and everything else like that. It's about pushing momentum, pushing, putting your foot on the accelerator or taking it off the accelerator at certain points. And we know throughout those 8 minutes, these teams are so good at doing that. However, that 2 minutes when Rayquaza spawns, your brain can either turn to mush or it can turn to gold. And sometimes the decision-making either goes up or it goes down. And again, you can't really predict what's going to happen. Jose does what Leafeon does best. It goes in, tries to sneak behind, tries to get what it has to do and put pressure in different stages of the map. We've seen him do that a lot as they played Leafeon, but to get picked up by a Buzzwole is hard. But I think what Los Duros had is that Hooper Unite. Once that Hooper Unite was active, they gained a foothold once again, because Recur on that Blastoise was really taking it to them. But the reset and the stuns that came out from the Rings Unbound was something that Los Duos really needed to get a foothold back in. They pushed Anomaly back out, but they did what they had to do. They made their time, but they ripped it too quickly. And even Jose was in there, Hooper still managed to get that secure.
Well, I tell you what, one thing that we are certain of is they'll be very happy when the Rayquaza is no longer in this game, buddy. And we finally go to Groudon, which I believe is coming this Thursday. So this is
2 days.
2 days, bro. So this is
days.
the last time we will see Rayquaza on the field for a while, at least here. So you got to make the most of it whilst you can, and that's exactly what Los Duros are trying to do, buddy. They managed to get it and get the first win.
It's going to be interesting because we talked about this before. When Rayquaza first came out, it seemed like a very balanced objective. The shields weren't too strong, the buffs weren't too strong, but then Pokemon Unite for some reason said, nah, let's not do that. And they gave us the super overpowered Rayquaza with those shields and the buffs that you get. I wonder how they're going to feel with Groudon, because it looks like it was designed in mind, the way that it works, where it gets the buffs. However, if you KO a Pokemon with the Groudon buff, then that Pokemon gets the buff as well. It looks like the way Groudon was designed was a little bit of original Rayquaza in mind. However, it could be interesting to see what Pokemon Unite to do. I would love to see them just stick with it. If it works, it works, because it's going to be a way that you can improve not only the overall competitive side of Pokemon Unite, that becomes a more interesting game after 2 minutes, but it could also improve the casual side, which you and I like to enjoy on when we ever get a break from being behind these caster desks.
When does that ever happen, bro? Come on, we're here every day of the week, man.
No,
but here we go.
I feel like chat's getting sick of our voices eventually. Can we get somebody else in here? But you know what? You can't get anywhere else. You can't get Latios and Charizard and the Banjo at the same time right now.
I mean, yeah, you ain't going to be having those out on Fair Sky Ruins here. It is Sky Ruins, unfortunately, and not Ground Ruins. But it is going to be Alolan Raichu that continues to get banned out, and Suicune as well from the side of Anomaly. Now, Latios being the first pick, what is going to be here for Borty? Will they go for the ranged attacker? Or are they going to look for these strong defenders we expect to be picked so early? I'm expecting Snorlax or something like that here. Could be the Blissey. I think Snorlax, maybe something Jirari wants would be a good shout. Ooh.
I mean, yeah, I think Snorlax was definitely a good shout, but Ayami having the Hooper play a very key role in that previous game just went, nah, hold my hoop. I'm going to show you how it's done, as Torero is probably going to pick up that Snorlax. Just talking about the Raichu ban right now, that feels like a very specific ban because we have seen Bordy completely pop off on that Alolan Raichu before. Very great big amounts of damage coming out when they got to pick that. We've got Ho-Oh being picked up right now on this side alongside Garchomp from Jirawe, which is interesting because we're used to seeing them on attack.
Yeah, that we are, buddy. So I think that's going to be a bit of a swap up there. I don't expect Jirawe to remain on that. We have got the Ho-Oh coming out as well here by Chris Buck. So they've already got that strong defender. Will they go for another one? We know what Anomaly like to do. 2 strong front line to protect that ranged attacker. Let's see if that's the approach they take. But Los Duros, as Oscutar is going to lock in the Serena yet again, seeing EU teams pick up this Pokemon. And Danny is going to get access to the Mewtwo Y.
It's the crown. It's 100% the crown. I'm pretty sure that's why you guys like it so much inside this EU region. I've never seen a region love that Pokemon so much, but it is a very, very good Pokemon. On the other side, we are seeing Miraidon come to the fray, and the first time we are going to see a Dodrio come into the mix on Thea Sky Ruins for the Unite Fight Club. We haven't seen too many Dodrios because the Leafeon that's being picked up by Lucent has been the primary choice right about now. So interesting comp coming out from both sides. Only one defender to defend Danny with that Mewtwo Y, which is that Snorlax, and it's very capable of doing that. But on the other end, Ho-Oh is going to be in charge of defending Miraidon, which I'm pretty sure it can do.
Oh, I like this approach. Louisin's like, I'm going to show you, Jose, how it's done with that Leafeon pickup there. But I don't know. I think Jose had a pretty comfortable game there, but of course, they did end up losing it because of a ridiculous push in the final few moments. They got very greedy with it. But you can't say that Jose didn't have control of that as a Leafeon.
No, absolutely not. And one thing I think I've mentioned to you before, I mean, I merely made your jaw drop to the ground when I said I was coming around on Leafeon. What I haven't seen so far from the people that are playing Leafeon, and again, this is me. I sit behind a caster desk and yap. But I'd love to see Leafeon do what they usually do, take a first buff, whether it's the red or blue. It's usually the red when it comes to Leafeon, and hightail it into the enemy team's central area, and then hinder them from trying to get on, because Leafeon's so strong in that early game that it can stop the enemy team from really doing anything. But also, you could see a double invade if Torero decides to go in with a Snorlax to really stop anything from happening. But it just depends who's going to go in the enemy team's central area for the side of Anomaly, whether it's going to be the Garchomp or it's going to be the Dodrio. It's going to be the Dodrio.
And as we get goodbye to Thea Sky Ruins and its greenness, you can pick up plenty of greenness and fresh ingredients when you get your redeem for HelloFresh. You can see it on the screen. There's the promo code. 10 free meals and free add-ons for life. While this Ho-Ho looks to get their own add-on with a KO on the Snorlax, but they do get away.
And Tano continues to win with these ad reads. I couldn't even think of how he was going to stick that one in, but he does a fantastic job. Hooper tries to go for an invade, but Leafeon says, no, that is my buff. How dare you, hands off? Just the same as you're going to say to your partner when you say, hands off my HelloFresh, because I get them 10 free meals and they're all mine, as Leafeon picks up a meal of their own and gets a stack in for good measure.
Ooh, 19 points on the side of this arena. They're not going to be able to get much more, but they're going to get out, and that's going to be the main thing. As we pause the game, we may be having a couple of connection issues. Listen, Ayami may be on the Hooper, but we're still getting a few issues with them letting these Sableyes in our system, bro.
I mean, I don't know what we do. Every time we see a Sableye, we seem to have an issue, but we've got to pause. We want to make sure that everyone's okay. It looks like it's Miraidon right now that has the issue because they are sitting in home base. So we want to make sure that everything's okay. That's why we've got a quick pause. But it seems like they've resumed the action right now as Miraidon is moving once again. Dodrio going to go in for the tri-attack and the boosted on to Testini, but does not manage to pick up the KO. Leafeon says, have some leaves for dinner, have some fresh greens, because you ain't picking up a KO on my Steenie.
Still looking for Gabai here, though. They've not hit that level 5 yet, buddy, and that's not a position they want to be in. Yes, it's a squishy Pokemon, but he does a lot of damage, and they need to get there quickly. Right down here, though, Mewtwo wide. Danny is looking for a KO. Ho-Ho isn't going to be the target, though. They're going to take that damage all day long as the electric terrain goes down from Borty. They're getting ready to find the KO onto Snorlax, and Anomaly are starting to get control of this bottom lane.
I mean, what else do we have to say between a Miraidon and a Ho-Oh? But here, Leafeon gets caught between a Dodrio and a Gabite. If that's a rock and a hard place, if I've ever seen one, Jeremy wants to get this evolution to Garchomp as soon as possible. Gonna rip as many things down. Blissey is actually gonna go the heals moveset this time round, Tano, instead of that helping hand. Keep that Serena alive and kicking for a little bit longer. 7:50 on the clock, as we do have Snorlax is just going to get shredded down by Miraidon as well. Can manage to get out, but nope. Charge Beam and Tri-Attack combination is going to send that big, thick boy right back to Nurse Joy.
Ooh, finally, they don't manage to get Borty. That was an absolutely ridiculous eject button over that wall, buddy. And I tell you what, Louisian is absolutely fuming with that illegal movement there. As the 720s come on in, the Miraidon is still here, so you can bet Enhanced Charge Beam's going to suck all of this up. Looking to get a KO onto Serena as well. Good effort to dive on in with a Snorlax, but the Hooper Portal's going to get them nice and healthy as they come back looking for more.
Garchomp's going to get a few stacks inside that top path. Leafeon's going to try to stop it. Misses the scoop. It's a nice little single duel in that top path. It seems like Gabite's going to lose this one. Going to try and sweep them back towards the middle area. Gabite is keeping its health high, turning our attention back down to the bottom side lane as we've got a Registeel appearing. The most coveted Reggie target for this one. Snorlax is going to goes down to the Miraidon, and it's incredible electricity. Registeel is low. Triple Trample's going to come out the boosted. Did miss, but who managed to secure that? It was Dodrio. Serena gets set back as well.
That is such a shame that Danny didn't manage to get that. It was a basic attack away from getting the secure, and it was a fantastic moment of movement from Danny. Oh, I thought they were going to get caught, but yet again, a brilliant movement with that teleport gets them over the wall. The healing from Blissey comes as it looks like Chris Bucks is going to try and hunt them down here. Or rather, Krinsky, they don't find them. They get KO'd in return. Incredible effort from Danny there.
I feel like Danny's going to ask me to pick a card and memorize it based on that kind of trickery and magicianness that we just saw. Have a look at this scoreline, Tana. We're almost clearing that 5-minute mark. We've only got 35-71. A fairly low-scoring game between these two teams. This is game number 2 of your best of 5. Los Duros taking game number 1, as you can see on the scoreboard. Serena wants to make sure that Dodrio doesn't have access to this Altara, all of the Altaras to themselves, but the rest of Los Duros here hits the Dodrio with the Emerald 2-step sense. All 3 heads back to the Pokemon Center. Garchomp is angry seeing his teammate get taken down, gets revenge on the Leafeon with a big limit outrage. Blissey is here to keep healing Serena right up to full health. Tried to stop them going through with an egg, but it wasn't possible. Nice little back and forth handshake between two teams.
I love how close this game is already becoming, buddy. These are the kind of moments that we live to cast in Pokemon Unite. A dive in with a triple trample. All the Unite moves are going to let loose here. Here's the Infinite Cyburn connecting as well. They do manage to take out Recur. The rip on the Lecky was there, but it's on 1 HP in a dream, and it's stolen. Los Duros managed to find it. It's Danny who connects with the basic, but the Enhanced Charge Beam is going to rip through them with the power of Miraidon, and now that Garchomp is just going to rip the Lecky, but not before it gets its revenge. I'm sorry, Lecky does way too much damage in this game.
Lecky does so much damage. Danny missed the bottom objective by a basic attack, got their own back, and got that Regieleki to head on in. I think we have to keep that as an assist for Danny. They got the Regieleki, and Regieleki KO'd the Garchomp. That's just my own stat boost in there. 4.5 minutes on the clock. That score still has not changed. Reg Ice is actually probably really good for the side of Roll Stura. It's giving a little bit of buff to Blissey and all those heals. Serena's going to stomp their way down, turn that ice into water, but Leafeon is here. Who's going to secure it? It is going to be Blissey. The Rekindling Flame comes out alongside the Rings Unbound into the Quinley Ascendant. Serena's going to get trapped in and burnt down to a crisp by Ho-Oh. Block's going to push Garchomp into the wall. Make sure it can't do too much damage, but the damage output from the rest of the side of Anomaly is just so high that Los Duros have no choice but to retreat as we see a siege onto Tier 1.
Oh, good push here from Snorlax, trying to get them away from that Hooper portal, and it works. Quincy doesn't go back, and now we've got Los Duros getting the approach onto the Garchomp here, manages to find the KO. Bright Future Meteor Storm, though, is going to have to back them up onto the pad as Anomaly look to see if they can escape. Massive Side Strike comes through. There's the Infinite Sideburn as well, using the last moments for these Unite moves as they try and find the KOs, and they absolutely clean up. Krinsky here is going to have to defend this of themselves as Ho-Ho, and whilst they can take a lot of damage with a massive HP pool, they are getting ripped. They managed to disrupt 2 scoring, but unfortunately they can't get there quick enough on the side of that Garchomp.
Garchomp is here, and that tier 1 is still standing. The Hooper Highway is going to bring some other members down. Dodrio is going to get some scores into that top pad, going to break that, sending this to 85 to 159. Final stretch is underway. Dodrio going to get a few more stacks in, trying to bring this game into close. The Scoop's going to stop Serena from stealing away that red buff away from the central area. Stomp's going to heal it up. Does not matter. 3 minutes has gone off, and Serena's going to pop the Queenly Ascendant.
I'm not sure whether that was wise from Oscar. I don't think it was needed. I mean, of course, Garchomp does have great self-sustain, and it's going to get that self-sustain as it rips through your HP pool. So I can understand why Oscar felt the need to do that, especially with all this experience up here in the top side, Lobo. Now they're going to be able to grab all that and get close to their Unite move within the next 20 seconds.
20 seconds left to go. You hit the nail on the head. Regieleki's not going to be touched. Want to see what Reggie has decided to spawn on the bottom. Doesn't know if each team can go for it with 10 seconds on the clock to try and rip it. But look at this line that Anomaly have set up across the entire raid pit. Garchomp is in there, but any one move can mean that this fight's about to pop off. Ho's going to put some fire down. Leafeon is trying to make their way in, but Garchomp has gone in with the rings unbound. Snorlax has to put up a block. The Bright Future Meteor Storm is hitting the ground with everything that goes. Does Anomaly have the Bright Future in their sight? The Hooper is stunning everything with those flailing fists. The Power Nap right in the middle of it all with the Infinite Sideburn is going to come up. However, it is Anomaly that have gone down by 2 teammates. Triple Trap was going to come out. They've targeted Leafeon. Leafeon's going to manage to get out. Stays healthy by the Blissey and their eggs. However, Dodrio popping those tri-attacks into that central lane. Miraidon's in a bit of bother here. Going to get sent back, but the Hooper hole has been missed by Miraidon because of the pressure of Los Duros. And now the rest of Anomaly are going to come back in for that team fight.
I like not going for the rip here. They do manage to find Ho-Ho, and now it's an even harder fight for Anomaly. They have been trying to target Louisian as much as they can, especially on the side of Recur, but thank God for Albanoa keeping them up in this fight. They have taken down Snorlax, though, and Jirare is ready to dive on in. There goes the Dragon Rush. Good side strike's going to come through, but who's going to secure it? It's Los Duros who managed to take it. Louisian says, sit down for the show, because I'm going to take this Pokemon, and I'm going to score these Hundo burgers.
It was such a good raid fight by Los Duros. They pushed everyone out, making sure that they couldn't make use of those Hooper holes. The Unite moves popping off in quick succession with Jiraiya in with that Garchomp. Again, taking a little bit more of aggressiveness and pushing the pace of this one. But Los Duros sat back and just absorbed all of the pressure and the damage that was being put out by Anomaly. Came back. They didn't lose a single person throughout the initial engagement on that Rayquaza fight, buddy.
This is going to be game 2 going to Los Duros, buddy. So they are on match point. Anomaly have no choice but to come out with everything that they've got if they want to make a statement in this week. Anomaly, remember, are a team that have been comfortable in these fights on this Unite Fight Club. So they are not going to be happy being 2-0 down already in this best of 5.
This is our 3rd day doing this, and so far, over all of the other streams, we had most of our games go to a full 5 games out of the 5. Now, we have had a clean sweep in our set number 1. We're sitting at match point for game number 2 with Los Duros 2-1 up. And again, Louisian with the 12 KOs and that MVP. But look at Danny with that Mewtwo doing 109, but not to be outdone by their attacker on the other side. Borty with the 117. What is going on over there in the EU region?
Oh, I tell you what, bro, we talk about rivalries and we talk about pitting, ranged attacker against ranged attacker or central laner against central laner. Well, look at that one. Borty and Danny having a fight for the ages in this game, managing to keep themselves at distance and rip through the opposing team with quite a lot of damage, but it's none other than Los Duros that come out on top. And as we have a look at this graph, mate, it was a very, very close game. You said a low scoring game, at least for the first 6 minutes of it. And it just shows how close this team really is. Rayquaza is honestly everything in Pokemon Unite.
I mean, and I think we're really looking forward to the days where we don't have to worry about Rayquaza, but we don't know. Groudon might bring us another set of problems, but have a look at the closing moments here. Garchomp was in, Leafeon was low health. They decided to scoop on in, got stunned up by the Psy Strike, and then that was taken by Leafeon there. Interesting closing minutes to that fight. I thought Garchomp, with just the ability to rip and the big damage that they could put out with just their basic attacks, would have gone on. But getting targeted by that Mewtwo Psy Strike was really the ending of that match, because once you get stunned, you can't do anything. But you know what they say? KOing a Pokemon is probably the best form of crowd control that you can have. And they did that perfectly for that one. Los Duros up 2-0. But we're still on Fearless Draft, which means we have so much more that we can see. Every Pokemon that these players have played so far in game number 1 and game number 2 are off the board for their team. And now we're going to see how deep these Pokemon pools are for both teams. Now, Tana, whilst we have a little bit of time between these two matches, I have brought up Unite DB, the absolute source of information for anyone that wants to learn how to play Pokemon Unite. It's got everything on there. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, going through these Pokemon, and I want you to tell me a Pokemon that we have not seen in Fearless Draft. Give me one, because we're already in the draft right now.
Oh, geez. Well, you know what we haven't seen, but we've been teased before, and we did get it picked, but then it didn't get played because there was an issue. And it's my favorite Pokemon. I've got it tattooed on my hand. Gengar, bro. We actually haven't seen a Gengar in game.
I mean, I would love to see a Gengar, because I like Gengar, especially the Hex moveset is just able to absolutely dismantle any Pokemon through. It's just able to rip through. Ayami's actually going to first pick a Mr. Mime, which I never thought would be on my bingo card going through into this game number 3. However, I've always maintained that we have not seen Phalanx come through on in this at all. Just a Pokemon that's completely been completely disregarded. But surprisingly enough, we have not seen a Glaceon either.
Yeah, that is surprising, because especially with the amount of defenders that are picked up and are very good in this game. I mean, we've got 2 here that you would want to pick a Glaceon to try and rip everybody. We've seen so much Blastoise, for example. So it is rather surprising that hasn't been here. But we saw a Cramorant. Like, what is going on in these fight clubs, buddy? It's quite exciting as we see the picks here. It is going to be an Armor Rouge locked in for Anomaly as well. I will always love that pick. I think that Pokemon needs to not be nerfed and keep the Fire Spin as it is, because I think it's really exciting. I
agree with you 100%. I do like seeing Armor Rouge come to the fray. Danny is going to pick up the crowd control, I want to say, Nightmare, that we call Suicune, considering how elegant of a Pokemon that is. To call it a Nightmare seems a little bit unjustified, but I'm going to do it anyway. Recur is going to pick up Slowbro as we go for another double defender comp coming out from the side of Anomaly. And we are seeing, for the second time today, the Burb.
The Burb is the word, and that's exactly what Jose wants to learn.
I was hoping. This is why we're on the same wavelength, my man.
That we are, but I nearly sung it, bro. It took everything in me not to sing it live on cast. But Louisin is going to pick up my second favorite Pokemon here. Another one I have tattooed on my arm. Absol is coming out to play for Los Duros.
What is it with you and speedsters, buddy? Like,
I know, right?
Absol. What's your third favorite Pokemon?
I have a Jolteon tattooed on my arm as well, and the rumors, or from what we've been seeing, is that if Jolteon does come, it's likely to be a speedster. So imagine that, free for free, bro.
I mean, that could be very impressive. But let's have a look. Let's round out these comp picks from both these teams. We've got Alba on the Alcremie. Oscar's going to pick up Zarshan, first time in at this match as well. Slowbro is an interesting one because Louisian has to watch out for that slow beam. Mamoswine going up against Suicune as well. Defender versus the crowd control attacker. Mamoswine can really just walk through any of the crowd control that Suicune has to offer, go in, pick them up with that Ice Fang, and put them back down. But we are seeing Mamoswine run a potion. I saw a question asked in chat, guys, why aren't we running potion? There you go. There's your answer. But I'm super excited about this Mr. Mime because seeing Absol on the other side, seeing Zarshan on the other side, just being able to stun everyone and stop the clean movement that comes out from both those Pokemon, Mr. Mime is going to do exactly that.
That it will. And we talk about clean movement, buddy. Well, what you can do for a clean diet is grabbing HelloFresh. You've seen the promo. It's been on the stream the entire time. You see those dishes on the left-hand side. You can get yourself 10 free meals and free add-ons for life using that promo code. You will not regret it.
I mean, from one clean transition to the other, we go right back into the game. We got Absol in central lane alongside Armorude's going to go into the central lane for the opposite side. We got a fight over here for the middle. Little and Didi here as Rowlet. Little baby Rowlet's going to try and get the evolutions, but Suicune is going to make sure that it pays for an early game. Ooh, Rowlet struggles in that bot lane against some of these top tier meta picks.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, Rowlet, it can drop a decent amount of damage, so squishy, buddy. Slowbo, though, isn't yet, as they try and absorb a lot of this damage, but Absol has shown face, and unfortunately, the crit damage is too much. Fire Spin is here, though. Jose's trying to look for a KO, and they find it, buddy. There goes the Crustle as they look for more.
As Suicune tries to ice you down, there ain't no way better to keep yourself warm than a nice little fire spin. Armorude has been looking at HelloFresh, wants to cook a little bit of HelloFresh healthy meals for themselves, and he does just that, but Absol has to pay the price, being sent back to the Pokemon Center, as it looks like Anomaly going to play the aggressive game early on in this game number 3.
Ooh, do manage to find the KO there onto Ayami, and now they have to go on the back up, buddy, trying to get retreated back to their goal, but they want to approach it. Does Danny looking to see if they can find this Dartrix? They do manage to get back to the citrus berries as Slowbro takes all that damage on board. Absol dives on in, doesn't find the first KO just yet. Dartrix looking to rip down their HP, but they go straight for the U-turn, look to come back, but not against that Fire Spin.
I mean, Absol just decided to about face into the enemy team's central area, decide to take some of those boss lineups, having a bit of problem inside that top part. They see it get that evolution to a Piloswine, but cannot stop Absol from taking that central lane. Absol's going to jump on them. They've been found by Piloswine. Not going to be quick enough to get that Ice Fang to stop it, but I eat my words as Piloswine does pick up a KO on Absol in that central lane just above us before our camera panned away real quick. But Jose is online with this Decidueye, ready to rain down some Spirit Shackles.
Thing is, Borty is going to be so difficult to get through here, buddy, and the Slowbro and Borty on the Fire Spin Armorude is all the zoning you could want as a team, but it seems like they've gone for the retreat here. They don't want to make the approach just yet. They've got 20 seconds before it's in, so they're looking for the KO if they can on the Crustle, and they do find it with a basic, I believe, coming out of Slowbro. The snipe shot doesn't get the snipe shot, the Spirit Shackle, sorry, doesn't connect. Jose's like, I ain't playing that, bro. I'm on the Decidueye for a reason, mate.
Hey, snipe's a snipe, mate, but telekinesis is going to make it easier for Jose to get those snipes on. They're waiting for the Absol to come in, but there they saw the telekinesis was pushed on it to the Suicune. Absol is in, but it is Mr. Mime with the sidekick push that's going to make sure that they secure that. Absol is dangerously low inside the back. That picks up a little bit of cream puff from the Alcremie as Borty just has to make their way on out. Does not matter. The Spirit Shackles are here to ensure that they don't go down. They pick up Suicune with the telekinesis. Nice combination play. Decidueye really making a statement today at the UFC.
That they are. And I tell you what, despite the fact that Los Duros have the points in this, it does feel like a lot of these team fights seem to be going the way of Anomaly, especially with how difficult it is to break through Borty and break through Jurare, as well as for Kirby in there. And then you've just got Jose that is finding the KOs. They've hit level 9 so far. keeping up with the central laner on the side of Los Duros as well is pretty huge, as Louisian manages to get their Unite move, looking to find the KO onto the Zacian here though, and that's exactly what they do. Jose's going to look to rip some more, looking to score. Might not be wise with Louisian coming in.
That was a massive KO, because I was just about to mention that Zacian was level 11, 2 levels higher than anything on the side of Anomaly. That top lane fight has gone very well for Zacian inside there, as we do see the backing off, the nice positioning coming out from Decidueye, staying between Mr. Mime and Borty on that armorage. Mr. Mime has found the Alchemy, keep the support away from their teammates, and they can't heal him, gets caught with the Side Shock. That's a beautiful Rock Tomb to ensure that Alchemy stays alive.
Los Duros are managing to defend these pads quite well, though, quite effectively as well, as Anomaly are still struggling to find points. An incredibly close game, though, as we hit the mid-game here, so it's not going to make that much of a difference just yet, but it looks like Los Duros fancy themselves both objectives here as they make an approach onto this bottom Reggie, leaving Louisian in the top lane to score that 40 dunk and look to get that Regieleki.
Luis is getting a nice overdunk. I believe that was a 36 overdunk. Crosser gets pulled back. I'm pretty sure that's the last thing that Jose wants to see on a Desi, is a Crosser being pulled right towards them. Now they've taken the effectiveness. Nice big high horsepower coming out from Mamoswine. Zacian's going to pull that Unite Sense. Mamoswine right back to the Pokemon Center. Fluffy Cream Supreme is going to try and counter the knock. Suicune's going to freeze the Slowbro, and Zacian now finally has a chance to pounce on this Decidueye, but the Razor Leafs are just shredding everything in their path. Crossel has to pop the eject button. Regirock is still moving. The Spirit Shackle's going to eye it, but no, Crossel moving just a bit too slow. Psyshock is going to steal it. The Power Whip is there, and I think that is going to be a Regirock going to the side of Anomaly, and it is none other than 40 that secures it.
Bro, I want that to be clipped. How on earth Borty managed to survive that entire fight, get those KOs, and secure the objective is absolutely insane. Armorage Fire Spin is absolutely bizarre in Pokemon Unite, and I am here for it 100% of the way as they look to push on in here as well. There comes the shield from the Slow Beam. They're going to be able to take down the Suicune as they look to push the T1 pad. They don't care they're half health right now, buddy, because Fire Spin is going to drop plenty of damage and is going to zone out this pad so they can score some points.
I mean, Zacian all in the meanwhile is going to take that Regieleki inside that top path, give Los Duros a little bit of more map control, even though that Anomaly is scoring inside the bottom part. That's 50 going in. They're going to try and get a quick 32, but no, they wanted to say speed was eminent here, as we do have My Mime Showtime alongside the Endless Ice Spikes. Wind Knock coming out as well. That's 1 member, 2 members down for the side of Los Duros, and Mamoswine picks up a KO streak of 2. Decidueye takes out the Absol. Zacian is dangerously low. Alchemy can't do anything. It doesn't want to go back in the oven. The desserts are here, but this time they're for the side of Anomaly.
Oh, they've broken the T2 pad, though Rubble Rouser is going to do enough to cause some crowd control and be able to get their team a little bit of space, but Anomaly don't want to budge. Borty, with that power swap on them, was still in the fight. Durare trying to defend this damage against Louisian, and it looks like Anomaly are going to grab what little bit of farm they can from the central area of Los Duros and go for a retreat. Look at how many yellow dots are up on that field. Sovereign Sword was looking to be used there by Oscar to try and get that buff, bro.
And they must have noticed the time, because we are deep into final stretch right now with 30 seconds left on the clock. Let's have a quick look at these levels as both of these teams decide to retreat to both sides of their fields to get whatever farm they can, because it is crazy. We almost have a level 15 Armorage and a level 15 Decidueye heading on into this Rayquaza pit. Anomaly going to turn their attention to the Regieyes in the bottom lane. They're going to have a nice little heal buff heading on in for this 1 minute fight. Now, Tano, 6 seconds left to go. It's game 3. It's gut check time. It's match point for Los Duros, but look at how calmly they have positioned themselves across the map. If 40 gets caught out, it could be game over, because the combination of Mamoswine and Armorage are keeping Decidueye safe, but those Shadow Sneaks are searching. Crossel takes a big amount of damage, but Borty is dangerously close to being found out by that Absol.
Yeah, has to stick with their team here, but he got to get some sort of distance between them, as we do see an approach here. Louisian was looking to go down that left-hand side, but recognizes that most of Anomaly are actually on the side of Los Duros here, so they're not going to get the flank that they're looking for just yet. They don't know where Louisian is, and now they approach into the mid-area, getting ready for the Midnight Slash, buddy, as they get frozen there. Good approach from Durare comes through with that effort from the Mamoswine, and now the Fluffy Queen Supreme is going to come on out, keeping their team in the fight. Showtime comes from Mime as they look for the KOs here. The knock from Anomaly doesn't find the KO, but it does get a lot of damage onto them. Psycho Boom connects as well, but Louisian was waiting for them to take the approach on the Rayquaza. There goes the Psycho Cut, ready with the Midnight Slash as they try and get the secure on this. It does pop out because they're matched up against the Armor Rouge, but it's going to be Lost Duros that locks it in. Louisian does manage to sneak it through. A great effort to keep yourself in this game.
But there's only one Hundo Burger going in right now, Tana. Los Duros are in the lead, but no! Anomaly have taken the lead back. They lost all of their shields. They lost all of their members. It was only Alcremie left alive. And Anomaly are still 100 points clear, even having lost that Rayquaza with 23 seconds left to go. Mavaswat's trying to increase the lead, but Alcremie is again inside that bottom path. But there's no... Oh my god, I thought they didn't have enough points. They only had 20 points that they managed to score, and it's not going to be enough. I think Anomaly have saved match point this time around, Tano.
I think they have, mate. I'm 100% with you, managing to take that to score the points. The fact that Los Duros, they just didn't have enough Pokemon left in the fight for them to be able to do anything. Louisian knew that that fight was not going the way of Los Duros. They knew that they had to do something to take that Rayquaza, and using the Midnight Slash to do so was a great shout, but you didn't have enough people to score those points, and Anomaly is going to sneak away a win here. We could be on for another reverse sweep, bro.
I mean, we've seen reverse sweeps happen already, but my goodness, if we get to see a reverse sweep of this quality, I ain't complaining. I know you ain't complaining. I know our chat ain't complaining, because this has been a great series of games. That was your game number 3. Anomaly finally on the board, but Los Duros are still at match point. Now, I have a very important question to ask you. Did I miss some news recently? Did something happen to Decidueye? Because, damn, the Decidueye performances have been on point today.
Well, one thing's for sure, buddy. If anyone was doubting how viable Decidueye might be in these kind of tournaments, the Unite Fight Club is here to show you that it is 100% viable in this game. We talk about these ranged attackers all the time, buddy, and we talk about how there's usually the core ones that you go to, and the rest of them do struggle in this meta at the moment. It's usually Inteleon, Mewtwo Y, a little bit of Miraidon here and there as well. But Decidueye, I'm loving it, buddy. I'm liking it. You've got good rip. You've got the Spirit Shackle for the good secure, and it's not as hard to land as a snipe shot. I'm kind of understanding it, and I'm definitely on point with it.
This is the best part about Unite Fight Club right now, is that the Fearless Draft, whether you like it or you don't, whether you just like to play whatever Pokemon that you want to play, some people just like playing the same Pokemon over and over again. But once you're here, once you're in the competitive scene, having that I want to say that deep Pokemon pool is very, very important. Now, I'm going to go back to the question that I asked you before we got rudely interrupted by being sent into draft. How dare these players be ready to play? So we talked about Gengar. We talked about Phalanx. Now, is there any other Pokemon that has not been played that you can think of? Because I'm looking at this list and I'm seeing, I think, about 3.
Yeah, I mean, we may have seen a little bit of it, but not much. Tinkerton, I would like to see come out a little bit more. Metagross has been a surprising lack of in this Unite Fight Club for me as well, mate.
So from what I'm seeing, first of all, we have not seen a Chandelure at all. Second, we have not seen a Delphox. And then the last Pokemon that I'm pretty sure that we have not seen has been Gyarados. But I don't think any of those are going to be picked this time round, because Jirawe is going to lock in the Trevenant. Torero is hovering over what looked to be Zacian, but looking to lock in a Ho-Oh. No, they can't play Ho-Oh, can they? Because they've already played it.
Exactly. Fearless Draft, bro, you ain't going to get access to that Ho-Oh. This is where we're getting into game 4 now. These players are having to have a good think. Have we played that already? No, we haven't. Yes, we have. So we're going to have to adjust. We need to pick something up that can play that similar role, but is different. So Albino is going to lock in the Eldegoss here, and Torero is going to lock in the Umbreon. But they do have Jurare locking in their Trevenant. By the way, chat, Jurare is well known as being one of the best Trevenants in the EU.
I can't wait to see what they lock in, because Ayame is going to lock in the Blissey. Now, we talked about probably supports that go really underutilized. I mean, support players go underspoken about and underappreciated in my humble list of opinions. So we try our best to highlight these incredible plays made by these supporters. But Alba Noah is going to pick up a support that is slowly, I want to say, especially in the Fight Club, is coming back. And that is the Elder God. Elder God seems so good and has so much utility right now. I kind of wish they'd buff that little cotton cup.
Yeah, you know what? I'm all for it, buddy. They will always be the queen of support for me, Eldegoss, because there's so much that you can do on that Pokemon to help your team out, whether that's dropping damage and getting KOs, because Eldegoss can do that, but also the heals, the Cotton Cloud Crash is great for team fights. I think it's a brilliant supporter, so I like seeing it here, but Louisin is actually going to lock in this Shifu. Now, we talked about it. We've seen Water Bear more than we've seen Red Bear. Will we finally see it, do you reckon? I
mean, because they've swapped that full heal to that eject button, and eject button is usually what we see on the secure single strike Urshifu, that Wicked Blow Urshifu. It feels like Louisin is going to go with the Wicked Blow Urshifu. Oscar locking in that guard chop has the rip potential, but Danny putting out an incredible amount of damage in that last game. Looks like they want to follow that up with the Miraidon this game. Recur going to pick up this Suicune, and Jose has picked up one, I mean, probably just the assassin Pokemon if we take it outside of Pokemon Unite and to Pokemon lore in general. The Ninja is coming to play, but Blaziken versus Urshifu, buddy. We called them the two gods of secure. We coined that term, I believe. We coined the term. The two gods of secure are going to go up 1v1 against each other. Blaziken versus the Wicked Blow. It's Overheat versus Wicked Blow, and I'm so here for it. Who's going to come out on top on this secure battle as we look at all those very, very pretty gold badges?
Listen, Clash of the Titans, this set has been so far, buddy, but you got to remember, we are still on a match point. Trying to cook up a win is Los Duros, and what you can do is cook up your own win by getting this redeem for HelloFresh. 10 free meals and free add-ons for life. It doesn't get more winning than that, Lobo.
I mean, can Anomaly add on a win to their current score, buddy? I tried that one to my best, and it did not work, as we do have a suppressive fire coming out from Miraidon, as Suicune has to pop their eject button early. Umbreon and Miraidon inside this early lane, but we've also got Jose here. Is not afraid on this little Froakie. The little Froakie get good going up against a big electric bike.
Oh, Gibble trying to see what they can do. Oscar trying to steal away this farm from Anomaly. It will be really important if they do, but they don't manage to. And the thing is, you've got to try and limit them being able to get on that Trevenant, buddy. Durare, as soon as they get access, that will be huge. A great effort with the kick here as well from Borti, trying to pull them away from the pad, or at least into the arms of the damage of Jose. Recur just gets away thanks to the freeze, managing to pick the little Eevee, but has to back on up themselves.
That's why we call it a nightmare of crowd control. Miraidon still gets access. Does not matter how much you freeze a Miraidon. The dragon says no way. The Hadron engine is completely revved up and ready to go.
Oh, that was brutal. And I gotta say, I think Danny has been incredibly impressive tonight on these ranged attackers. The different ranged attackers we've seen and the way to keep themselves at distance, making a statement for being one of the best ranged attackers here in this Unite Fight Club, bro.
I agree with you 100%, but as we see, Los Duros now putting the pressure onto that top side. They want to stop Jiraiya. Like you said, they must have heard you, buddy, but the safeguard is going to come out from Blissey. So we're seeing Helping Hand safeguard come out from the side of the supporters. We have Charge Beam on lock, but Suicune's going to freeze them up as Frogger is looking to get a little bit of damage on the Miraidon, but inside that central area, we've got the showdown that we wanted to see. Blaziken is chasing down with the overheat. He does get it. The Wicked Blow is charged, puts the fifth back where the foot came from, and Urshifu's trying to high knees his way on out as there's pressure coming from Anomaly on this bottom pad, but there's a Citrus Berry that's picked up by Danny. Urshifu still alive, even with the pressure of Blaziken, as it goes back into that central lane for that refight, but woo! Watch out! 40 still has a full bit of health.
I can't believe they had to give up on that one, though. Get back into the lane, and they finally get kicked in the face. Back to the Pokemon Center. Borty comes out of top on that secure fight. They have to back on up, though, because they are definitely losing this HP, and it's going to be a rip on the side of this Elder Goes looking for the KO. Does not find it as Jose tries to lock them down with the Water Burst Shuriken. They have to back on up as we have the 7-minute objectives spawning on in. We don't have enough Unite moves for them to go for the good secure here, but they're going to push on in with a Wicked Blow anyway.
I don't think we have Unite moves anywhere. It's going to come down to Overheat versus Wicked Blow, but without contention, Blaziken's going to take the set in that one. The first secure goes to the side of Blaziken, as it looks like Anomaly is going to push onto this tier 1, but they've seen that Los Duros have Danny with that Miraidon that's just able to put down that electric terrain, which makes it harder and harder for them to push onto that pad. Now we've got Suicune, Miraidon going to stay in that bottom pad. Gabite still not evolved to that Garchomp, but Oscar has one little bit of farm left to try and secure it, but Blaziken took it away!
Oh, this focus blast to steal away the dreams of Garchomp in the lane. Jurari knows exactly where Albert is, and they're going to stop them from being able to secure that Regieleki. Anomaly have the advantage just at the moment, still looking for those points, so Livid Outrage is going to zoom on across the space of this fight, and they do manage to find the KO onto the Blaziken. Waterburst Shuriken comes through, but they get KO'd for their answer, and it does look like Los Duros are going to find some important KOs as well as defending this Regieleki.
I mean, it was a good momentum shifter for Anomaly to really take that Regieleki, which meant Los Duros could not put the pressure on. They took out the Greninja in the middle of that Water Burst Shuriken. I believe it was the Thunder coming down from Miraidon that did the tick damage that finally took Jose down. But inside the bottom lane, we've got another fight going on. The all-rounder battle continues. Blaziken versus Garchomp in this bottom lane, backed up by the Umbreon, but Greninja's also there. Damage output in that lane is crazy. 54 to 91. I wouldn't say it's a low-scoring game right now, Tana, but there are fights going on all over the map. 1v1s, 2v1s, 3v1s, whatever number you can count up to, as long as it doesn't go past 10. But Los Duros is going to get some scores in this bottom half.
Yeah, finally extending their lead. They are on match point, so Anomaly don't have any choice but to go aggressive in this mid to late game, buddy, and that's what they're trying to do here. But Cod and Crowd Clash is going to buy so much space for Los Duros as they go through with the Rip as well. The Wicked Blow is going to come through, but Jose will not be caught as they find the KO onto the Shifu. Has to watch out, though. The Enhanced Charge Beam is going to connect. The Eject Button is used as well, and the good Rip from the Garchomp is going to buy even more shields and healing here for Los Duros as they look to approach this T1 pad. A brilliant Ice Spikes comes out from the Suicune to get that freeze through, and Durare is back here to defend this T1 pad. Los Duros, all they can do is shoot at range as they have to back up.
A brilliantly timed Regice take, by the way, like you pointed out, because that provides the healing that Eldegoss is going to do. But now, Suicune, that Whirlpool's not going to reach far enough to get to Danny. But Blaziken has been spotted by Garchomp, but it is there with the safeguard from the Blissey, which means it doesn't get scooped. So now we turn our attention to another Regieleki fight. They want to take this one off the map. 91 to 41 as Trevenant picks up a beautiful Hornlich into the Dragonite scoop, to the Dragapult scoop with the Phantom Forest. Livid Outrage is also going to come out. Trevenant gets sent back to the Pokemon Center. Blaziken's going to try and do something here with the Water Burst Shuriken coming in. Garchomp picks up another KO as Danny tries to score a quick 27 as Garchomp acts as the distraction, and Los Duros have taken the advantage in the top side.
And now they're just going to rip this Regieleki as free real estate. Oscar Tar puts on an absolute show in that top lane there, buddy. They were very happy to be the distraction that Los Duros needed to score those points. Albia's not even going to be caught here. They're quite happy to escape the Suicune. And I like this from Los Duros. Instead of pushing this Regieleki that we see so many teams doing, they're going to go back, grab their own experience, and Alba will try and see if they can sneak in something here. Because if they do get KO'd, buddy, they're only level 11. It's one of the lowest on their team.
I mean, but if they're going to get KO'd by something, they could at least bait it into the Garchomp, which Jose has significantly just gone in as the scoop comes out from the Garchomp. A beautiful bait combination by Eldegoss and Garchomp. That's exactly what they wanted. Hey, you said level 11, we can be KO'd. They had something else different on mind as we head on into final stretch.
I mean, Jose should have stared at that and been like, that's bait. That's bait, 100%. That is bait. But right now, Los Duros are in the lead. It is still close, though, as we say. The final stretch means that these points will mean nothing because the T1 goal is up for Los Duros. The rip on the red ice is the overheat. Looks like they're going to secure that, but it is going to be Louisian that comes out on top with their own secure. But now they're looking to take down Oscar, and if you can take them here, that will be everything. But they're living outrage rips through Anomaly in return. They find the double KO. Bliss assistance has to be used, but they're not going to be able to get out of it, buddy. Now it's just Blissey and Trevenant on the field, and Blissey goes back to Nurse Joy just as Rayquaza's about to spawn on in.
I mean, Suicune is here. Jirawa is low health, and they're just going to go for the rip. Suicune could try and steal this with the Endless Ice Spike, but we have Greninja coming back in as well. They do not care. The rip is here because it is Urshifu that comes out on top. I believe that was 2-1, and Los Duros have secured the Rayquaza and looking to secure this match point with a few Hundo Burgers raining on into the goals of Anomaly.
What a fantastic effort. I mean, we do have 1:30 left in the game. These Hundo Burgers are going to come through. 500 points now. If they get even more, which they're going to do here, buddy, it's going to be out of reach for Anomaly. They're going to have to score over 500 points into those goals. That's going to be nearly impossible to do. There's not enough change on this field to do so. So Los Duros looks like they're going to win this with a 3-1 victory.
I mean, what a way to actually win that one, coming out through. Very dominant performances coming through, but let's not take anything away from Anomaly. They were close in all 4 games that we watched them go through, but now they're just going to fight it out on this pad. All the Rayquaza shields are broken. Suicune and Trevenant going to take a little break for themselves. They feel like they've done enough. No more fighting for them with 46 seconds left on the clock. Los Duros, buddy. Good performance for them coming into the Unite Fight Club.
It really is, definitely is. And the thing is, you know, these teams, they are competing elsewhere. Los Duros obviously are competing in the EUL that's currently going on right now, buddy, and they have had a little bit of a difficult time over there in that tournament. So here, they're going to feel very comfortable going up against a team that is known to be a strong team on the side of Anomaly and being able to get themselves a victory. I like the the good effort going on here. We're just gonna be happy. We've got the win.
Just be happy.
Don't worry. I accept it, bro. I'm gonna go support you.
And there's a big Bliss assistant. I like that. Just dance it out. We like to see a little dance off there. You know, good games from both teams. We got to see the secure off between Blaziken and Urshifu. Blaziken taking the first secure on that first objective. Urshifu came back and took the second secure heading on into that late game. But then it was Urshifu that managed to get the Wicked Blow secure onto the final and most important objective of the entire match, and that was that Rayquaza. And again, even though they were fighting all over that map, I don't think the stats give a clear indication of how that match went, because Anomaly were very much in that until the very end, where a livid outrage engaged at the 2-minute 15 mark from Oscar turned that fight around. They decided to take that fight early.
Yeah, it worked for them. Absolutely, mate. And I got to say, as we look at these players here and we look at the stats, I'm thinking about the entire set. And I think my MVP for that entire set is Danny. I was impressed by them, mate.
How come you always get to go first when you pick the MVP? Because you took my MVP last time, and now you're taking my MVP this time, which means I have to pick another MVP. I was going to pick Danny as well. Just the versatility and the ability that they showed on those range attackers was absolutely stunning. You know, I guess if I have to pick someone else, it's going to be a tie between actually a 3-way tie for me between Borty, Oscar, and Jose. Again, those 3 players, I think I've seen them play more in the last 3 weeks of casting. No matter where we've been casting, I've seen those 3 players play so often that I'm just enjoying their gameplay. I'm enjoying the mastery that they're bringing to these Pokemon. And, you know, I'm never going to get sick of watching them play. So, you know, congratulations to all players. Again, this is all about highlighting individual players. Like we said, we're bringing all of the data together. We're collecting all of that data on these individual players, on these teams as well. And then they are going to be ranked. There's going to be a ranking system coming up for the Fight Club. And I know ranking systems are a little bit controversial. However, we're going to try and do this in the fairest way possible, because it's not about egos. It's not about being, just being considered better than another person. This is to highlight individual players heading on into next season, so that organizations and teams will want to pick them up, because it's about getting that spotlight on Pokemon Unite, especially with the league format that we've got going into next season, buddy.
Yeah, the simple fact is, mate, and the reason why we're here doing this is because you look at other regions for Pokemon Unite, and especially in the Asia region, and you have organizations picking up teams to compete. We don't really have that here in the EU region. I mean, we have a couple of organizations that have picked up teams. Nouns has obviously been there, but you've got teams like Komai and Gen 5 that have had to do it all themselves. Engage have had to do it all themselves. We need players and teams to be approachable, to look like professional esports players, for these organizations to even be entertaining the idea of getting involved. And that takes a lot of work. Not only does that take you showcasing your individual skill as a esports player, it also takes having a professional look with your name, with your logos, with your socials, everything, and then having the data to back it up, buddy. So that's what this is all about. We will release a website, and I've had a nosy at it, by the way. It looks pretty cool. It will be coming very soon. That's why we're doing these weeks so far, to collect all this data. And trust me, it is 110% going to be all worth it, chat. So we want to thank everybody that has been taking part in these Unite Fight Clubs. We want to thank everybody that's been watching and getting involved. We see you in that chat, and we see you getting involved in the conversation, and we couldn't be more appreciative of it, Lobo.
I mean, you and I get to sit here. Maybe they're sick of us talking and yapping all the way along, but it's what we love to do, to bring this kind of, I guess, production to you. I mean, we sit here and talk. We have incredible people behind the scenes. Engage has actually gotten one of their first sponsors in HelloFresh. All of the fun, quippy ways that we have tried to bring that into the show as well is all for the sake of improving our Pokemon Unite scene in this EU region right now. I know I'm from the OC region, but I love the EU region. I love the players. I love the people. My casting buddy is from there, and I absolutely adore the EU region, and anything we can do to bring that more to the forefront, we are going to do our best to do. So this Unite Fight Club's not going anywhere, and we hope to see more of you continue to participate. I know we're bringing in live qualifiers coming in soon as well, so we're going to see more and more teams play coming through. So it's going to be an incredibly I want to say an incredibly massive undertaking, but we're here for it. We're not stepping away for it, but what we are going to do is probably step away. But before we step away, we're going to give a big shout out to everybody that was involved. Big thank you to Bina, who is our observer behind the scenes. Thank you to Zen.
Bina for words.
Bina for words. Big shout out for Zen, Akasa Milan as well behind the ink, Yash behind the desk as well. Our tournament organizers. Thank you to Engage for putting this on. We do this twice a week, guys. Twice a week that we're going to be here, sitting here, watching Pokemon Unite through Fearless Draft. Anything that we can do. Big thank you to my favorite casting buddy, sitting behind me behind the desk. Ain't nobody else I'd like to do this with. And Tano, hope to see you on that big stage, because I know you're going to get there. So this helps us as well. So thank you guys so much. Tano, any thank yous, any lovely shout outs you want to put out to either players, chat, anybody? It's your time, buddy. Take it.
Hey, I mean, buddy, we do this so much, and we love everyone that gets involved. Of course, you yourself, mate. I wouldn't want to do this with anyone else. It is so early over there in Australia, and the dedication that you show to this EU region, buddy. You are EU at heart, and you will always have a welcome space here in this region, bro. So that is going to be it for us, chat. We're going to head on off. Keep an eye on those socials, though, because if you've ever watched this Unite Fight Club and thought, I would love to get involved in this, you might just be able to very shortly. We've got something cooking up that I believe will be coming next week. So keep an eye on that, and have yourself a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. I'm going to go cook up myself a HelloFresh meal and then get some sleep, guys. Bye.